What up, everybody? I think we already got people in the room. Coop, how you doing on this good, I won't say good Friday, but Black Friday. Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours as well.
Right back at you. How were your festivities?
I was pretty cool, man. It's always good to get up with family, and, we ate here, had dinner here, and then went over to my parents' house, kicked it, talked about the good times. My parents are actually celebrating their 44th anniversary today. So they were talking about, their courtships and stuff from back in the day. So happy anniversary to them. And, I tell them all the time, I don't take for granted, growing up in a two-parent household because I had a whole bunch of friends that didn't have, that same thing. And it's not one of those things that, again, you take for granted. So thank them and their union, even though they still getting on each other's nerves. But I guess that's par for the course for 44 years. So
Um, uh, Lessons of
you're breaking up a little bit, Coop. I don't know. I don't know if it's the signal or say
uh,
something.
can you hear me?
I hear you now. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, it was kind of going in and out when you were speaking.
I was just saying, beautiful thing, blessings, thanks, congratulations to them. You know what I mean?
Most definitely. I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
I'll relay that, man. We got a lot to talk about. The list that we put together Wednesday. We didn't think it was going to take us that long to actually go through a
No,
list from the early 2000s. Do you want to start there, or do you want to start with some music? Because I know we haven't spoke on Dave East's mixtape, or is it a album? Album mixtape. It's all the same thing. Let's just say project.
have you heard?
I heard some of it. I like it. What did you think about it?
I liked it too.
Dave East is an interesting character. He's one of those things. He's one of those artists that is consistent with what he does. I can't really say I've ever heard a whack Dave East verse, but it's like
Um,
the songs are like a straight line to me.
well, you want to know what he sounded like on this album? In my opinion, he sounded very comfortable.
Yeah,
And I don't know, maybe it's because he's not with Mass Appeal anymore. And so he's not tied to anything, and maybe he's not feeling any like per se pressure. But there's something about this pocket that he's in when I listen to this album, and I like this pocket for him.
he's
Like,
always been dope picking production as well too. What do you think? And I guess we got to talk next levels here because he is a part of that freshman class. What was that? 2016, the one with 21 Savage, Anderson Paak, Designer, Kodak Black. Who else was in there? Lil Yachty.
mhm.
So, what keeps him from being mentioned with many of his contemporaries in hip hop, especially with his ability to rhyme, in your opinion?
Hmm. I think you want to know. It really just came across my mind today, like really for the first time. What do you think of his voice?
Somebody in the chat just said Dave East has a horrible voice. Now, I'm not going that far.
Going that
It's
far?
funny that you said that. I don't know if you read the comment that
No,
yeah.
I'm actually on my iPad,
Okay.
actually doing the
Yeah.
show where I usually pull up the thread from the chat, and my phone's right here. I don't have anything on the phone, so
What are we rating his voice from a 1 to 10? Because in my personal opinion, I wouldn't say horrible, but maybe 6, 7 ish.
I was thinking six-ish.
Yeah, Leroy Green says the voice.
Right, because when I listen to him spit and some of the stuff he says, and we're going to get to this when we bring up another artist and album in a minute. Like he does it, and he does it well. And I don't know if it's just because of like how he puts it together, or maybe sometimes for some people can question maybe the work that he puts in. But it's like lyrically, he's not as top tier as you would like him to be, if that makes sense. It's like
It
because
makes
he gives
sense.
you enough to make you feel like he could be.
Let me pull a Harlem name out, and I'm gonna go ASAP Ferg, right? Because for me, ASAP Rocky is not even in the question, right? But ASAP Ferg, he might not be the most lyrical like that, but he's entertaining. His songs are entertaining, and he has a pretty dope rap voice.
He does. He has a dope rap voice, and he's exciting.
Yeah, he is. And I hear people saying that Dave East is monotone. And I don't hate to put those criticisms on an MC because those are things that your pen work, are basically being punished for. And it shouldn't be. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like what is the most important part of an MC, Coop, in your opinion?
You want to know what? Can I tell you some honest to God truth? From the time when I was an artist, I really did think that it was about the rhyme. But I've gotten older and I've just gotten smarter, and it's not just about the rhyme. It's like, no, you got to have the voice, the energy, the flow. Like, you got to have the package. And it's like, when you really look at it, it's like when we parse hairs about like who does this better, this, that, and the other. Well, you find us talking about the same people. It's because, well, they operate on that same high level very, very well. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like there's a reason that when we talk lyrics, we consistently bring up Black Thought and Nas and Rakim and Cool G Rap and KRS-One and Big
But
Pun.
all of those people you mentioned, they have dope voices. So it's like their pen game. Yeah.
But what I was about to say is, if you go down the dope voice list, it's like, well, you'll find a lot of your greatest lyricists there. You go down your dope voice list, you'll find a lot of your greatest storytellers there. You know what I mean? It's like, because part of what makes you want to listen to it and part of what makes it entertaining is what?
The voice. I mean, let's look at Old Dirty. Right? That was all charisma. Even some MCs that, Method Man was my favorite MC growing up, and Meth had his moments where his bar game was crazy and his word placement was crazy, but he wasn't the quote-unquote most lyrical. It was his delivery, his ability, his charisma on the mic, his voice. Same thing with Snoop. You know what I mean? Like, we could break it down and say, Snoop's not the most lyrical guy, but the most lyrical guy is not going to make Doggy Style.
It matters.
It matters a whole lot. I think a lot more than we like to give it credit to. I think that this being hip-hop or being MCing, we want to give credence to the lyricism more, but if you think about it, with the park jams and what the MC's individual role was, even in that arena, it was about the voice and delivery and your ability to rock the party.
Well, it's kind of like the same rules apply. It's like, so let's talk about some of your great lyricists and what their voices sound like. KRS-One.
10.
Chuck D.
10.
Ice Cube.
10.
Scarface.
Yeah, 10. Honestly, even with Scarface, a lot of people say he's not, and I think it was Dumb It Down. Shout out to Dumb It Down. He's probably not in the room yet. He was acting like Scarface wasn't, a lyricist because he's not lyrical miracle. But a big part of Scarface's draw and his storytelling ability comes from the voice. It does.
It does.
Without a voice like that, you can't make I Seen a Man Die. You can't. Marquez Davis with the super chat says, The Voice 10. Happy Thanksgiving, fellas. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well, Marquez. We appreciate the support, and I appreciate everybody saying Happy Thanksgiving, and Happy Thanksgiving to y'all as well. Let me ask you a question, and I'm gonna get into this diatribe in a minute too, and I know people love it when I go here. From a voice standpoint,
What?
Eminem. From a voice standpoint, let's be real.
Is that the question?
Do we have to separate Eminem from eras or whatever? Say like, prime Eminem and washed Eminem, or you want to pull them together? They're two different voices.
Is that the question? I would rate his voice somewhere in the category where I would put Davey's voice, probably about a 6.
I think his voice is one of his drawbacks.
Yeah.
I think Amityville is the Eminem voice that I could tolerate I don't want to say tolerate, that I like the most. I could tolerate role model voice, but, I can kind of look past some of the high pitch. But Amityville, if he rapped like that a lot, then I would give his voice higher marks. But as far as like this stuff that we're hearing currently, yeah, that voice is a 6 or a 5, man. It's really bad.
I like the guy that's on Any Man and forgot about Dre as far as
You
voice.
do? I would.
Yeah,
I go more towards the renegade voice.
I think that's kind of forgot about Dre territory with the voice. Don't you think,
What do you
maybe?
say to somebody you hate? No, I think that's a little higher. I think any man, and that's a little higher.
Cool. I'm cool when he does it at that pitch because I think that's where he's most comfortable. That's what I mean. Like I like hearing artists when they're comfortable, and I think that's where he's most comfortable is when he's in that Any Man and forgot about Dre pocket. I think it's when he makes his best stuff as an MC.
You know what? I'll give you this. I think it really made him stand out. I think if he would have came in the game with the more toned down voice, he might not have stood out as much. Because yeah, that high pitch. Because again, I keep going back to this record, and I think I might have referenced it on that top five that I recently did, which you guys are gonna get a kick out of. He really stood out to me on Sway and Text the Anthem. And a lot of that is because of his voice and his delivery in relation to his counterparts. I think he was rapping in between Pharoah Monch and Exhibit. Monstrous voices. And then he comes in there like, this is my house. I might as well wipe myself out, my eyes out with, no, white out. You can't see me like Mace's eyebrows. That verse. And I was like, yo, he's dope. And he actually jumped on this record with a whole bunch of dope MCs, some of the greatest of all time, and stood out. And I think his voice had a lot to do with that. If he would have been rapping like Renegade, Lose Yourself, Eminem out the gate, I don't know if he would have stood out in that way. So I'll give you that.
No, but that's where he's comfortable. That's why I'm saying, look at how dope that verse was because it made you a fan of it too.
Yeah.
Like where he's comfortable, and so it's like even if that's not necessarily, you got to let people do what they're comfortable doing. I mean, you know, you have many times referenced that Dr. Dre Aftermath album. Well, Mike, he wasn't comfortable.
He was still finding what the new thing was gonna be. I mean,
The whole thing just redone and amped up.
You know, I think that Aftermath album is very, what's the record with him and Ice Cube?
Not Natural Born
Killers sonically. But I think he was going there anyway, even if you look at California Love, Mad Max type of theme or whatever. And
he wasn't as good on that album. Like talking about Natural Born Killers and California Love. Like that stuff.
No, I'm just talking about the tone, just getting away from G-Funk. You know what I mean? And I think that, yeah, he doubled down on that on the Aftermath album, which is his album, but I don't think that he had perfected that sound. But you know what? I don't even know if it's just that sound because I haven't listened to the Aftermath album in a long time. And I bet if I go back and listen to it from a production standpoint, I might say, you know what? This album ain't as bad as I remember. I think the problem with that album is you don't have a Snoop, you don't have an Eminem, and you don't have a Hitman. You don't have somebody who is going to give you the direction from a rapper standpoint. And, you know, both of his seminal efforts have that. Yeah, DLC too. Mm-hmm. And I think that's probably the biggest problem with that Aftermath album. What was that, 97?
97.
97 is such a weird year in hip-hop. 97 is kind of the year that a lot of people either took it to the next level or fell off a little bit.
It was just weird. There's a little bit of everything. 97 is a mixed bag year because really the problem with 97 is, well, 96 and 98.
What's the problem with 97?
96 and 98.
Well, there's a lot of problems with 97. I mean, obviously Pop passed it.
97 has a lot of dope stuff. It's just not as like all-time classic as the 96, 98 stuff. Like when you look at it, the 97 stuff falls further back than the 96, 98 stuff.
Someone always described Pac and Big's passing or murders like the Twin Towers falling, right? And Pac passing or getting murdered was the first tower going down. And then, you know, for people who are old enough to remember, when the second tower fell, it was like, oh, this shit is real. It's not an accident. You know what I'm saying? And I think Big dying was the second tower falling, and I think it took a whole lot of air out of the game. You know what I mean? Not that Pac didn't, because he did. But when Big passed right after that, I think it put hip hop in a dark place for, the next couple of months. And I think 97 kind of suffers from that. There's a lot of trickle down effects from both of those guys, being removed
Well,
from the game in the fashion that they did.
well, it happened within 6 months. Too.
Yeah.
So it's a domino effect of like misery and grief, kind of like transitioning, and it's like quite frankly, the environment and the climate probably had a lot of artists thinking like, should I even be making rap music?
That's why we got to the shiny suit era, to be perfectly honest. And obviously it was catapulted by, Puff and Mace, but it was like, yo, we got to do something uplifting and happy. And it got too happy,
Yeah.
And I think that's where it came from.
But isn't 97 the Carnival? Wyclef and
Incredible record, yes. But I think that the Carnival, the Carnival would have been remembered a lot better in history if we didn't get the miseducation the following year. And the Carnival, to me, is brilliant. Probably one of the more underrated. I hate to say underrated because it sold so many records, but it's understated in history, I'll say.
Yeah, nobody talks about it.
Yeah. NDU Jams with the super chat says, like Guru said, it's mostly the voice that gets you up and mostly the voice that makes you buck. This is true. We got JY in the building with the Graduation album cover. I seen your comment too. We're going to address all that. He said, what up, guys? Peace and blessings to both of y'all from Australia. Shout out to Australia out there. Coop, your Purple Tape Friday show was super dope. Interacting with us and playing real rap-ish. Yes. When are you doing the next one?
I actually started like right now the playlist, so we're gonna be pulling up soon and doing something else soon.
Okay. JY also says DMX voice personally for me, then Big. DMX voice was special.
I feel that way too. Well, I mean, you want to know it? It's the voice with the amount of energy and intensity and actual pure unbridled pain he was feeling inside. It's like it's when you have a great MC, it's not just one thing. There may be one thing to you that sticks out the most, but it's usually a combination of a lot of things. It's just like eating your favorite dish. It's not one thing that makes a dish your favorite dish. It's usually a few different seasonings, spices, the way that it's put together that makes it your favorite. Like your favorite MCs are that way. It's not just his voice, it's the energy.
Well, let's bring that back to Dave East because
pain story.
I think that voice is one thing, but maybe the passion's the other.
Well, what I would submit to you, that's what I was trying to say in kind of a roundabout way when I was saying, well, how much is he working on being that top level? Because that's that passion and that intensity and that burning desire. And those are intangibles that really can't be measured. That's what I mean. It's just like, no, like for whatever like you think about like a Tupac or a Big or a Nas or a Jay, like be some rapping ass niggas. Like they love to rap, right?
But once again though, even when we talk about Jay, I think that's why I say conversational Jay ranks so high for me because you feel him. You know what I'm saying? And that's the Jay that gives you the feeling. Conversational Jay. We were riding to my parents' house yesterday, and we were listening to some Teddy Pendergrass, and it was Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, "Miss You," and TKO. And I was listening to Teddy, and I'm like, you just feel this dude, like you know what I mean? Like you hear it in his voice, like even when he's not singing hard, you feel the words because of the intensity there. And I was thinking like, people don't sing like that. At least male singers don't sing like that anymore. And I think that's some of the things that we're hearing in rap. It's like that intensity matters. And it's not just, and I'm not trying to diss, I'm just being real honest here. Meek Mill does a lot of yelling. And it's not just that. Like, I don't feel Meek's raps. I just don't. And again, I'm not saying that to be disparaging. I just don't. And it's different. Even Jim Jones, somebody who wasn't even that lyrically skilled, when he came out and he was making certain records, I felt Jim Jones.
Hold on. Oh, it's funny that you're bringing up Jim Jones because, Jim Jones was on the 38 joint, right?
Yeah.
First of all, Jim Jones can rap.
He can.
And
And he's
Jim Jones,
developed that over the year. He did
but
years.
hold on, let me say something. Like
Uh-huh.
the reason that Jim Jones is dope because you can feel that
Exactly.
he feels what he's putting down. You can tell that he loves hip hop and loves to rap on whatever level. Like it's not on a Rakim level in terms of how he views it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But on his level, he really, really loves it
Mm-hmm.
and expresses it, and you feel him. And that's what I like to listen to. That's why it doesn't always have to be super lyrical for me. It's like, no. I like the dudes that feel themselves and the ladies that feel themselves on their level in their world, no matter what it is.
It's confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know. And again, I hate to be critical of MCs that seem to be doing everything right from the pen game level, but when when you listen to the people and hear some of the things that the people are saying and their response, obviously something is missing. You know what I'm saying? And I think we've kind of found the things that may be missing with this particular MC.
I mean, the voice thing literally just crossed my mind today because it's like I was really enjoying this album and I was like, why do I not love this album? I had to ask myself that. I was like, the songs are good, the production's good. I was like, bro,
Production's always good.
the production is for the most time always good with him.
Mm-hmm.
And this even felt more in his element in his pocket. Like it might be his best project that I've heard just off one listen.
Wow. And so we're probably not even. Do you think it's going to be a top 10 for this year?
No, that's the problem. That's what I mean saying why don't I love it? Do you think it's top 10?
I don't think so. I was going to say, man, another MC who I think is super dope as a lyricist whose voice I don't love is JID.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if JID had a commanding voice on the mic. I think we might even rank his already stellar effort even better than we did. Those things matter. And I think that, I don't know what it is in this era. Maybe it's kind of going back to what I just said about Teddy Pendergrass, but you don't get a lot of strong voices coming in the game anymore. I mean, because DMX's whole taking it back to the streets movement from the shiny suit era doesn't happen if he doesn't have a strong, commanding, passionate voice.
This is true.
It just doesn't.
I think one of the things that maybe we've been doing as hip hop media and auditors of the culture is I think we haven't been maybe putting enough emphasis on voice in relationship to lyrics, storytelling, album making. Like I think when we think about voice, we try to put it a level or a step below those things. And I think what we really need to start doing is acknowledging the fact is that, well, the voice matters damn near as much as the lyrics, the catalog, that favorite album that you listen to over and over, because you want to know why you can listen to it over and over again.
Yeah.
These guys have dope voices. You want to know part of why Outkast is the greatest duo ever? Like, Mike, they have dope-ass rap voices.
Yep. And contrasting rap voices, too.
It's contrasting, but it's also, like, Southern, but understandable.
Oh, yeah,
like,
very clear. That was one of the things my mom said when Miss Jackson or So Fresh So Clean was playing on the radio back in the day. She's like, they're very clear. I can really understand them.
They're distinctively Southern, but it's distinctive that you can hear exactly what they're saying.
I think that's something that Jay-Z has going for him as well. Like, he's incredibly clear.
Yes, I do believe that as well.
Andrew Green with the super chat, $20 super chat, great looking, says, I'm late, but I want to notice, I said, I'm late, but what I noticed is how impeccable sequencing is on Nas and Hit Boy's albums. Was listening to Magic today, and after Woo for the Children, the first voice you hear is Raekwon on Wave God Scratch. Small details, definitely. And that's intentional. It's not by accident. Shout out to Hit Boy. Incredible job sequencing and producing. And again, even in that clip that Hit Boy posted on his Instagram, it's always, man, like, you and I do this show sometimes 2-3 hours, and there's a lot of things that we say. And sometimes clips get taken, and it's like, well, I didn't mean for that to sound like an insult. You know what I mean? But it happens like that sometimes. And one of the things that I said in that Hit Boy clip was the fact that I didn't feel like Nas had been produced since Illmatic. And when you just take the clip, it kind of sounds like a slight or disrespect, whatever. But things like that is what I mean from a sequencing standpoint. And those are things that Nas just didn't have to worry about in this collaboration because Hit Boy had it. It was like, okay, I'm just gonna focus on the song structure, the rhymes, the hooks, and all of those things. You handle the production and sequencing.
Mm, fascinating. Is that executive production? A little A&R work, maybe even possibly?
From who?
Hit Boy.
Oh, definitely. I think even from Nas's standpoint, though, sometimes being able to delegate in that way, and I'm sure he gave his input. That's a level of executive production too.
No. I've heard some of the inside input and some of the things that he requested from Hit Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seek Bix with the super chat says Kendrick's voice is mad annoying. He raps over mostly subpar beats, which makes it even worse. He also tries to be street while trying to be a role model for the youth. Super whack. Huh. Very harsh. I want to piggyback on that. But go ahead.
Well, I think of all the all-time great rappers, he does arguably have the worst voice. Like, of all the all-time great rappers, because this is what I mean when we start considering about who are the greatest rappers of all time. Well, let's do a quick rundown. Well, we have Rakim, LL Cool J, Big Daddy Kane, Slick Rick, KRS-One, Chuck D, Scarface, Ice Cube, Nas, Biggie, Tupac. Like,
all great voices.
That's 10 of your 20 or 11 or 12 of your 20 right there. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. And see, the thing is, man, and I know we've said before on this show.
Jadakiss.
Yeah. I know we've said on the show before, Jay-Z doesn't have a great rap voice, but I think that's only in comparison to his contemporaries.
He's the only one up there who doesn't have like the voice.
But if you compare him to most rappers, he does have a good rap voice.
No, if you just slide him even go down next to Kendrick, it's like, oh no, great rap voice, but then it's like Ice Cube, Chuck D, Nas, Rakim, Big.
No, Jay-Z's rap voice is way better than Kendrick's. Because again, we got a You Don't Know from Jay.
He's in such a funny pocket where all the other MCs that are as dope as him, their voices are so much doper than him, but his voice is so much better than everybody else.
It's crazy, yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, this is what I'll say about Kendrick and his voice. Everybody that I talk to that doesn't really feel Kendrick like that, especially after To Pimp a Butterfly, because I was in a space like, man, am I overrating Kendrick? Because I was like floored by the efforts. And people like, I ain't really feeling them like that. I'm playing To Pimp a Butterfly for people when it came out, and they acting like it's normal stuff or just, okay stuff. And y'all hear people saying that Kendrick's overrated. All of that, when you ask somebody what they don't like about Kendrick, the first thing they're going to say is his voice. Because it's really nothing else you can criticize.
I mean, outside of this album that he just dropped up until this point, there wasn't anything to criticize other than the voice. So
I mean, even this current album, I think we gotta rate this album as an isolated project. Now, the biggest thing is the fact that it was a 5-year
all
break.
Isolated projects. They all should get rated isolated projects. I'm not giving it a rating based on like what he's done before.
Right. No, I ain't talking about it. I'm talking about him. You know what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't fall too far after creating something like this because he has Section 80, he has Good Kid, Mad City, he has To Pimp a Butterfly, and he has Damn. So
no. Like when I'm saying like slide, it's like, oh, you might have been at like 10, 11, you might be at like 14, 15. I didn't say he was at like 52. It's like, oh man, he made this awful project 52. It's like, no. Like maybe 10, 11, you might be at 14, 15, 16. It's like, that's how,
It's the slide.
It's a slide. It's not like you just fell off the map or something. It's like you're still right there. That's how it happens. I mean, don't the NBA do player rankings every year?
They do.
Haven't you been watching like LeBron and like Durant slide a little bit? You want to know why they're getting older? Luka and Jokic. You know what I mean?
No, it's real. Yeah. And like I said, it doesn't help to have a 5-year break. The Raisin Heads with the super chat says, voice means a lot.
Taking a 5-year break from balling.
Well, that's never gonna happen. What other profession can you take a 5-year break in?
No. In entertainment, you can take as many breaks as you want. You just need to be mindful about your audience. That's all.
Well, okay, let's just be real. Let's be real here. Who in hip hop, and I know we've covered this before, has actually taken a 5-year break and came back and popping like ever? And before people say Dr. Dre's a producer. He didn't take a 5-year break from production. That he did not do.
No, people would say Nas with Nasir. The difference between Life is Good and Nasir is about 4.5 years.
Well, see, this is the thing. He had already been through the peak of his career, and if Nas would have never made an album again from Life is Good on, he would have already been solidified. So I don't think that counts. You know what I mean? We're talking about if he would have taken a break in 2000 and came back in 2005 or something.
I don't either. I'm just being objective.
Yeah. No. I feel you. I'm answering the people who might,
I feel like Scarface may have taken a 5-year break too, but the same thing like with Nas already. Yeah. I think between like Emeritus and when he dropped Deeply Rooted was like a 4 or 5 year break.
Yeah, again, solidified.
Right.
He didn't even need to make Emeritus.
4 or 5 classic albums. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, Made Man. Raising Head with the super chat says, voice means a lot. Just listen to a ghost now. Peter Parks with the super chat says, what's good, guys? Just wanted to say, love the show. As always, you guys have high hip-hop IQs for sure. Appreciate the love. Yes, Coop's hip-hop IQ is high. I was about to say basketball IQ. I've never really heard hip-hop IQ. It's just a music IQ altogether. Inspector says Kendrick has the most annoying rap voice. See, people believe. All right.
Hold on. First
of all, Butterflies.
I don't look at it like an IQ thing because the IQ is something that you can measure, and you just really can't measure music in that meter. So I would say it's just like we're honest with our ears. I think both of us have always been very, very honest with our ears in terms of what we hear.
I'm sure I'm off all the time, but again, it's just like you said, being honest with the ears.
Everybody's off. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is like Vegas, Mike. You know what I mean? We're trying to take the house. You know what I'm saying? But we're gonna win. We're gonna hit some.
Okay, what's that record on To Pimp a Butterfly that I always skip? You know what song I'm talking about? Complicated. You know what I'm talking about?
Not Complexion. Mm-hmm. Oh, Love is Complicated, like the question, just like question mark, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it's just question mark.
His voice on there. Yeah, his voice on there, I can't listen to. Yeah, I mean, it just is what it is. So, I mean, it's hard to listen to. I'll put it that way. I mean, the bars.
You're talking about For Sale.
No, not For Sale. Hold on. What's after For Sale?
Mama.
No. What's up?
Institutionalized?
Nah, hold on.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. You? Loving You is Complicated? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, You. Yep, You. Yeah. I can't listen to the record, and it's because of his voice. Michael Williams with the super chat says, what's your favorite era of Nas? 90s, 2000s, 2010s, 2020s? I have to say current Nas. His perspective and overall artistry is perfect to me now. It's different when you grow with your favorite artists. It's hard to say, man. I mean, I think from a listening standpoint and just being such a fan of 90s Nas, it's hard to not say that, but I understand that people are saying current because the perspective is just so clear. It's not all over the place. You're not going to get a You Owe Me in this era. No disrespect, but you know what I mean.
Somebody can be, it's very rare that somebody is a genius early and a genius late.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And when somebody is a genius late, that's usually the things that they are remembered for.
I give you that. I've always given people the highest marks for what they do later in their careers.
Mhm.
That's the stuff that makes you a legend. Because, I don't want to say everybody's great in their prime, but a lot of people who aren't overall all time great are even great in their prime.
Right.
But let's see how you operate when you're, so called past that prime. Or not, as they say, or 21 Savage says, the most relevant person on the block. Like, how are you going to perform 21 Savage when people are saying you aren't relevant anymore? Are you even going to give it a shot? I mean, that's why when people talk about Jordan on the Wizards, I thought Jordan on the Wizards was incredibly impressive. He changed position. He was playing small forward now. He was playing bigger. He was 40 something years old, dropping 40 in games, averaging like, what was it, like 24 and 6 or something? Like, to do
Mhm.
that at 39, 40 years old, after taking a break from what, 98 to what was it, 02? That's impressive.
It's amazing, actually, when you think about it.
Yeah, when you think about it, that is extremely impressive. Playing for an organization that no one expects to win anything. You're playing with some guys that, let's just be real, aren't championship caliber players. And I thought it was impressive. And I think that, again, when you see how somebody's able to operate at that age, that is a true testament to their greatness. Same
Okay,
thing with LeBron.
so this is what I mean about. So let's go back to Michelangelo, and I just wanted to do my research right quick to make sure I had it right.
Okay.
Like, when somebody's a genius, Mike, it usually flashes like in in a span that you can see, no matter what the genre is. So Michelangelo made David when he was 26 years old. He did the Sistine Chapel at 33. That's what he's remembered for. Like, he did a bunch of other shit after that. What he's remembered for.
Yeah.
It's like a ball player. It's like you remember Michael Jordan the year he scored 37 points, and you remember the guy that went on that run in his 30s. It's a time period of the guy that you remember. You know what I'm saying? And there are market seasons and times of that. Like, this dude is having seasons like this, like literally 25, 26, 27 years
Yeah.
apart. You know what I mean? It's like, I mean, I'm trying to think of like the first time Einstein became famous for something, and then like the theory of relativity, like the age gap. Like, it's one of those type of things going on.
I mean, even Quincy producing Thriller at the age of 50, Will we ever see a producer?
But what did Quincy have that was considered to be illmatic in its genre 30 years before?
Well, I mean, I'll have to go back and look at the work that he did with Frank Sinatra and, Ray Charles. He did a
The
lot of
Sinatra
work.
stuff, the Sinatra stuff, some of the Sinatra stuff
Yeah.
maybe is
It's brilliant. You know what I mean? And it's a whole different genre for the most part. Honestly,
it's music.
Epic didn't even want Quincy to produce for Michael because they said he was a jazz producer. So he had to change up his palette and some of the things that he was doing to even work with Michael. And this is shit off the wall. He had to be in his late 40s if he wasn't already 50. So JY with the super chat says, I never thought I'd see the days as a senior in high school and witnessing Nas drop arguably a top 3 album from him. KD3 is going to stay with me for life. Love these moments, man. I guess everybody's on the same page with KD3 being album of the year.
Yeah.
Solution says, Mike, do you know you have a very good radio voice? I appreciate that. I've heard that before. I tried my thing in radio, but
I agree with that.
it was too political. Appreciate the love. Seek Big says the majority of hip hop listeners accept Kendrick's below par, mediocre, low energy, and pop/alternative music. You can't play his songs by themselves. Okay, I think that the reason why people accept Kendrick's voice is because, man, we're going to go all the way back with this. I'm going back to Graduation. Kanye West. I think Kanye West is one of the people that not only made it okay for you to be a rapper to come in the game without any edge, made it okay for you to use your government name for the most part, first name, last name, and he also made it okay to not have a great rap voice, and be the biggest in the game. At least I won't say great rap voice, a strong rap voice.
See, but I felt like Jay was that too, though. That's what I
To a
mean. It's
degree.
like how Jay before it's Jay.
To a degree, but I think even if we want to talk about the strength of voice, can you see Kanye West making You Don't Know? Because
Hell,
you can't see Kanye West making public service announcement. Like,
hell no.
we're judging Jay's voice based on his contemporaries, but he has a much stronger voice than the current batch of MCs.
No,
You
no,
can
no, you're
even
right. He has a
hear
better
on
rap voice than Jay.
Diamonds. You can hear on Diamonds and Never Let Me Down the difference between them two.
No, 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 you're right.
Michael Holmes of the Super Chat says 1996 Nas is the GOAT. I totally agree with that. I mean, overall Nas is the GOAT, but yeah, I've said on the show before, Nas in 1996 is probably the greatest MC I've ever heard rap. Michael Holmes also says Boosie gave Nas respect on his third Vlad interview. I'm gonna be real, man. I don't watch Vlad's stuff, but I'll take your word for it. But yes, are we ready to rate Dave East? Are you ready to get to?
No, we can rate the Dave and then move on. You know, one thing that I really thought about too, and this was in relationship to the voice when I thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're gonna have to stop holding for it by yourself so much too. And so this album maybe because of his voice was missing some more features, maybe to kind of offset some of that.
Yeah.
So that it doesn't become noticeable, because it was something that I found myself asking that question around tracks like 11, 12, 13. And I feel like maybe if there would have been some breakage with guest appearances in between, I maybe wouldn't have felt that way and be having these sentiments. But that's what moments are like these are for, to like really like unpack it in detail and get to like really what it is. And so like he doesn't have the best rap voice, and he's not an A1 lyricist, but he's an excellent production and beat picker. It's a great song maker, and he really just probably needs to just stitch up some ends together. But I really like this project. I enjoyed listening to it.
Was it better than Joey's project?
I enjoyed the production. So like Shimor, if we're being honest,
yeah,
I did. I would probably go ride to this before I would ride to the Joey. I need to go listen to the Joey again, but just off just a couple of hard listens, I would tell you they're about on the same level for me. But when I was thinking about this, I was like, yeah, there's like this somewhere between like a 3.9, 4.1. I feel like we gave the Joey like a 4.1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this is like kind of in that stratosphere. If it's below it, it's not too far off of it.
Shout out to the people in the chat that are talking about Sinatra at the Sands, 1966. That was produced by Quincy Jones.
I said, give me something.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, they giving it.
Frank Sinatra, hold on. Listen, Frank Sinatra at the Sands in what? 1966.
That's 1966.
Thriller is when?
1982.
How many years is that?
That is off the top of my head. That's gonna be what, 16
years?
Yeah.
Right. We're talking about 30. We're talking about double that. Then. You see what I'm saying?
What was actually before that, y'all? I feel like Quincy had some work before that.
No, but something epic. You gotta have like some Illmatic. It was written Stillmatic.
But the thing is, though, Cooper, prior to the Beatles and all of that, albums in that capacity really didn't exist either. So we're kind of playing on a different scale. It was nothing but singles out there back then. What was Quincy Jones's first hit single, y'all?
That's a very fair and astute observation. And so I'm going to.
I still want to see what his first hit single is, real quick.
But that would still make this even unprecedented. Even like you can toss it up that way, it's still unprecedented in that regard. Still, though. You feel what I mean?
Let me see Quincy Jones discography, because I feel like I'm missing a real big record. And shout out to Quincy for the Sanford and Sons theme song too. Incredible. Let's see. Now, his first albums. Yeah, he has albums in 1955. Um, yeah, Jazz Abroad. Yeah, but I feel what you're saying. Illmatic's a seminal effort. Um, I
Well, it's
do
not
want.
just the seminal effort. No, this is what I mean. It's not just Illmatic. No, it's in a time period. This is what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Michelangelo. It's like he made David, he did the Sistine Chapel. He did a bunch of stuff in that time period. It's like, no, Nas made Illmatic and it was written, but he also made Stillmatic and God's Son and Lost Tapes.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? It's like, no, it's like all of that. And then the 30 years later, go do this. It's not just Illmatic.
it's
It's
very
like,
impressive, man. When you look at it from that lens and I mean, it's wild to even think that somebody from 92, 94 ish could be out here in 2022 making the best album, hip hop album of the year, and basically making 4 albums in 2.5 years. It's incredible.
think about this. He's currently rap's best album maker.
He is.
He's rap's best album maker right now.
He is. Let's get to this list though, man. Because you and I put out a list, or we put together a list last episode, top 10 hip hop albums from that first decade of the 2000s. Now, the whole point was for us to do each individual decade with top 10s, but we couldn't get out of 2000s because it was just such a discussion. And here's what we came up with. We had Mad Villainy at 10, The Fix at 9, The Documentary at 8, Hell Have No Fury at 7, Stillmatic and the Blueprint tied, and then The College Dropout, Get Rich or Die Trying at 3, B at 2, and Supreme Clientele at 1. This is what I want to ask you to start this off. Do we really think that Hell Have No Fury is better than the Black Album?
Me personally, it is better. The lyrics are better, but I do think that Black Album has more home runs, and it is Jay. But I'm partial to Hell Hath No Fury. Like, I'll tell you how I feel about Hell Hath No Fury. I look at it very much the way that I look at Reasonable Doubt and the Purple Tape.
Yeah.
Right.
I can't.
But that's me personally.
Yeah. I can't say that Hell Hath No Fury with a clear conscience is better than the Black Album.
I would love the Patreon that though, Mike. I would really love.
Would you? Okay. We could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, people are saying it's not better. Some people are saying it is. Okay.
I'll take that.
Is the Black Album better than Mad Villainy? No. Let me stop there. Is it better than The Fix?
Not in my opinion.
Why?
I mean, the Black Album is a great collection of songs, and I love what he's doing. But, like, it doesn't feel like The Fix, if that makes any sense. Like, I don't feel the Black Album. I like listening to the Black Album. Like, I pick the songs that I want to listen to depending on the mood that I'm in from the day. That's what's beautiful about the Black Album. It's like you can go find the dope-ass song for, like, your mood. But, like, as a collection, like, as an album, it really doesn't feel great to me. Like, beginning to end, like, ooh, this is just epic. I got to hear it from beginning to end. It's like I'm totally comfortable skipping around on the Black Album, and it's enjoyable that way.
Well, I think that's because of how it's put together. You got records like Dirt Off Your Shoulders. You got,
Right.
you know, you got Encore. You got What More Can I Say? You got 99 Problems. You got PSA. You got, even Threats.
You don't like 99 Problems.
I don't like 99 Problems. It's a big record, though.
See, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I mean. It's kind of like mood music, and it's great mood music, and it's still like Prime J stuff, but The Fix feels like a better album from beginning to end, more like an album. It's like you feel like you're listening to Jay show off, like everything that he can do because he's saying he's retiring. And that's what he kind of was doing. And it was kind of cool to hear him pull it off, but listening to it I can't tell you the last time that I actually listened to the Black Album from beginning to end, but usually if I put The Fix on, I play it. And that's what I mean. So if you're asking me what's the better album, what's the album that I actually play from end to end?
And then you got Allure. And then you got Lucifer. Yeah, I'm just going to be real, just looking back on it. And as much as I love The Fix, I love The Fix a lot. I would have to say the Black Album's the better album. Oh, and people were really mad about us leaving off Thug Motivation 101. Darius Campbell says, you guys left off Thug Motivation 101. Let's do this. Let's do this. You want to go another 10? Like, what would the next 10 be for this era? I mean, we got the energy and ability to do that right now.
I mean, so what? Something out and putting the Black Album in.
So, okay, let's see. Let's do this.
Because here's exactly
Another
how
10. If we
because when you start, no, because this is what I'm saying. When you started doing that whole Black Album thing, I'm thinking like, so the songs on the Lost Tapes are better.
So you think that the
like
Lost
when
Tapes,
you started talking Allure, I'm like, okay, that's great. Blaze a 50. When, you feel what I'm saying? You start talking Encore, it's like, okay, do rags. Right.
I mean, but let's just be real, man. Like the Lost Tapes, and I'm gonna get killed for that and for this in here, just doesn't have like the big records that the Black Album does. Like you said, Jay was showing everything that he could do.
No, and it's beautiful. Like I'm gonna tell you what, like on a personal level, and this is what I mean. Well, I'll skip over the first 6 songs and go straight to Threat. I don't love albums like that. Like I really enjoy albums like that, but it's like if I go to your album and I want to go here, you know, because it's like sometimes I'm cool on some of the stuff, even though they're dope records. I'm not taking anything away from their records, like Dirt Off Your Shoulders, Change Clothes. Even though I'm not a big fan of it. What More Can I Say is really dope. Love What More Can I Say.
Mm-hmm.
You don't love 99 Problems. See, that's the thing with that album. There's points of it that everybody doesn't love, and it's different points. Like I love 99 Problems, but you don't.
No, the record I don't like on there is Moment of Clarity.
Everybody, no, you don't like Justify My Thug. No, you don't.
I like Justify My Thug, actually. I mean, I think on that album, it's not a This is the thing. That album, and I could say the same thing about Moment of Clarity. Even though I did like the way he was rapping on Moment of Clarity, it was the production for me. But I think with a record like Justify My Thug, it's kind of an album song on an album that is pretty much nothing but singles. You know what I mean?
But hold on. So you're acknowledging though that how about this? On Lost Tapes, there is no Change Clothes, Moment of Clarity, or Justify My Thug. There's none of that. You understand? There's no record.
But
on
there's
those
also no PSA on there either.
Right, but Mike, there might not be no PSA, but there's also no drop off that low either. And you just did that with the Blueprint and Stillmatic. You were like, yeah, the Braveheart Party, and Mike, you got 3 drop offs. Like what's the worst song on the Lost Tapes, Mike?
The worst song on the Lost Tapes, that's hard to find.
Exactly. What's the worst song on the Black Album?
Oh, Moment of Clarity to me.
And then Justify My Thug. You got a couple of duds on.
I don't dislike Justify My Thug though. I don't know.
You want to what?
I think Quick could have given him more heat, but I like Justify My Thug. I do. Maybe it's the whole Rockefeller Y'all intro. It was very retro to me, where he was kind of taking it back to Volume 1, Reasonable Doubt, Jay. Michael Williams in the Super Chat says, has any artist in history ever released 3 projects at this level of KD2, Magic, and KD3 in 15 months, in a 15-month window? The quality and quantity ratio is absurd. I'm not sure.
Not in hip hop. Not in hip hop.
Yeah, not in hip hop. All right, if we're naming another 10, so you already got Lost Tapes on your next 10. Lost Tapes, Black Album.
What's our first 10? Let me get in. Like, do you have it up?
Yeah. I'll pull it up right now.
No. Isn't it like on our page, though?
It is, but I got it up on the screen right now.
Okay.
We got Mad Villainy at 10, The Fix at 9, The Documentary at 8, Hell Hath No Fury at 7, Stillmatic and Blueprint at a tie. Then you got The College Dropout at 4, Get Rich or Die Trying at 3, B at 2, and Supreme Clientele at 1.
Yeah, we're going to need some Lost Tapes, Black Album, Purple Tape 2, King, Carter 2, and 3 off the top of my head.
Carter 2, 3.
Carter 3. 101, yeah.
Hold on, you said Lost Tapes, Black Album, King, Carter 2 and 3, Purple Tape 2?
Yep.
All right.
101. I'm cool with 101. You know, I love Jesus.
We're going to talk about that. 101. And I'm thinking late registration, graduation, gotta make this side, right?
Bang bang.
Um,
Bang
what do you
bang.
feel about the cool?
Yeah. Where are we at?
I nominate Below the Heavens.
Well, where are we at? How many were we at? We had like 17,
I'm
18?
just drawing. I'm just writing them out right now. I think Minstrel Show too.
Hold on. How many do we have? We only picking 10.
Okay, hold on. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
We already passed?
Yeah, because you said Carter 2 and 3.
Well, one of the Carters, is one of the Carters going to have to go and one of the Kanye's going to have to go?
It's hard to not put, I mean, really, truthfully speaking, graduation and late registration should be in the top 10. But
Yeah, well, I'm not leaving the Kanye records off, but I'm cool with leaving one of the Waynes off.
Uncle Fran with the super chat says, Mike, why you feel you will get killed for being honest about Jay in a positive way? The Black Album is a great, great album. It is.
It wasn't a great album. You said asked me if it thought it was better than Hell Happy and Fury.
Eric Terrell with the super chat says, Ozzy Brothers in 1959, Make You Want to Shout. 1975, Fight the Power. 1983, Between the Sheets. And 2001, Contagious. How long is that run? Just a few hits. Yeah. Between the Sheets was 83? I don't know why I thought Between the Sheets was in the 70s.
Yes.
Mad Max with the super chat says, Coop bugging. 99 Problems is Hove's most renowned hook. And
No,
the song is
I
fire.
love 99 Problems. I love 99 Problems.
The Fix was never held to the standard of the Black Album was. Mike 100 says, Black was great. It's just made at the wrong time of his career. JY with the super chat says, you should include the other two Ye albums, man. On the Moon, Finding Forever, Black Album, Purple Tape 2, and the Carter 2 in your next 10. Let me ask the people right now, Carter 2 or Carter 3? Because that's going to be the discussion.
Stankonia.
Stankonia?
Yeah, Stankonia's 2000.
Oh, man. Stankonia. The thing is with Stankonia, it's like, it's Outkast's most successful record.
Don't do that.
But it's their fourth best record.
Don't do that.
And it's really interesting. No,
now's not the time to do that with an Atlanta Braves fan.
It's a game changer. No, I just don't know how to rate Stankonia. Like, if you were asking me about the other Outkast albums, I could rate those like nothing.
It's one of the 20 best albums of the 2000 to 2010. Like, I'm cool with that.
Okay. I think Stankonia is better than The Cool. I'm going down the list right now.
Me too.
You think Stankonia is better than Lost Tapes?
No.
Think Stankonia is better than the Black Album?
No.
Think Stankonia is better than King?
Yes.
I don't.
I don't agree with you.
I don't. I don't. Eric Terrell with the super chat says,
hold on. You're telling me T.I.'s third best album isn't better than Outkast's fourth best album to me. And that's no disrespect to Tip. I love Tip.
I think King is his second best album.
You know,
and probably his most rounded album.
Runs. Urban Legend just, man, I don't know.
I think the King is probably his most rounded album.
I'll agree with you on that.
Eric Terrell, the super chat says, Outkast went diamond, won album of the year from Atlanta, and they don't make y'all lists coming out in 2003. So he's talking about Speakerboxxx Love Below. Love Below's not a hip-hop album.
Rap.
Yeah.
Packaged like some sort of fusion Missy Timberland joint picture.
I mean, if he would have rapped more, maybe it would be considered in that way. But I'm going to say this. I feel like Speakerboxxx Love Below won the Grammy for Album of the Year because Andre wasn't rapping. Is that fair to say? I don't think they would have given that award to Stankonia, which would have deserved it as well. You know what I mean?
No, I get what you're.
Okay, so y'all are saying Stankonia is better than King.
It is. Think about it. Okay, so think about what's the
I
three
would like
biggest.
to do a Patreon with that.
I'm cool with that, but you're gonna lose, Mike. Because what's the three biggest records on King?
What you know?
Bombs Over Baghdad.
I'm sorry. You know how I feel about Bombs Over Baghdad. Which song means more? Now, which song is the better song? Yes, it's
You know,
tough to beat Bombs Over Baghdad.
you know what you know is my theme music, but Mike, keep on going. After what
I've
you know.
heard you say, Coop, what you know is the best rap song to come out of Atlanta. I thought you said
I
that. Am I
post. I
tripping?
said post. I said post it. I said post Outkast and Goody Mob. What you know is the best rap song to come out in the modern era, and I mean that.
Okay. Well, I got more singles. Front Back featuring UGK.
So fresh, so clean.
I love So Fresh So Clean. Top Back.
Mr. Jackson.
Man, Top Back better than Miss Jackson.
That's right, but Mike, I still got We Love These Hoes. I still got Gangsta Shit. I still got Slum Beautiful. I still got Spaghetti Junction.
I love
I still
Spaghetti
got
Junction.
Trapping. Right. You don't want to do this, Mike. I still got the questions, the Andre verse. I still got Humble Mumble.
Okay.
I still got Call Before I Come.
I had to test it, man, you know.
We gonna no. We gonna test it. I'm cool with doing this Stankonia versus King. It's not gonna go well.
Somebody says Stankonia is trash. King's better. Top Back. The Cool is better than Stankonia. Okay. So Stankonia and the Carter 2. Stankonia, huh? Based on what you just said, Stankonia is better than the Carter 2 and 3.
I prefer to listen to the Carter too, but if I'm
I prefer to listen to King.
but preference isn't being objective, Mike. That's what I'm saying. Like objectively speaking, see, we're looking at it through the lens of those Atlanta eyes too. That's like really like addicted to the first three albums. Everybody else ain't addicted to the first three albums.
Right.
Like,
that's what makes it very difficult to really place. But I got to be fair, take myself out of it. Stankonia is a better album than King. It's a better album than the Carter 2 and 3. I think it's a better album than Only Built for Cuban Links 2. It's a better album than Thug Motivation 101.
is it better than The Cool?
I think it is. I'm sure that Lupe fans are going to kill me for that too.
I think it's comparable though.
Yeah, no, it's not crazy off, but I think it's better. It's not better than Late Registration or Graduation though.
No, it's not. That's crazy.
But is it better than The Minstrel Show? Now that's interesting.
That's interesting.
I think I would. I'm gonna give.
That's little North Carolina and Georgia.
I'm gonna give Little Brother their props. The Minstrel Show is a better album than Stankonia. I think Below the Heavens is better than Stankonia.
I don't agree with that. So what's getting
Stankonia is hard to rate.
So what's our next 10? So what's our next 10?
Looks like the next 10 that are in discussion: Lost Tapes, Black Album, King, Carter 2, Carter 3, Only Built for Cuban Links 2, Thug Motivation 101, Late Registration, Graduation, The Cool, Below the Heavens, Minstrel Show, and Stankonia. What are we missing? I want to ask the people out there.
That 10?
That's like 12. But we got to cut some.
I mean, I'm be honest with you. So did we already cut one of the Carters, or did you name both of the Carters?
I named both of the Carters.
So
which Carter are we cutting?
I'm cutting the Carter 3. I'm sorry.
Okay, I want to ask the people: the Carter 2, the Carter 3. Marquez Davis with the super chat says, "Are you guys including Godson as well, or are you not as high on that album?" Mo Better Co says, "Y'all need to give Paper Trail another listen because lyrically on the MC level, that's his album in his own top 5."
It is. It's 4th though.
I think so too. And see again, kind of like something.
After rap music, urban legend, and King is Paper Trail.
Because the thing that we were talking about earlier, voice, intensity, and passion, even though his pen work is somewhere else on Paper Trail, those other three albums just have way more personality to me.
He has way more personality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to know what people are saying when it comes to the Carter 2 and Carter 3. JY says, greatest rap song of the 2000s. Grinding, Major Look. Those are some that come to mind. Jesus Walks. 2000, I'm sorry, 007 with the super chat says, taking 2000s and not having Ludacris involved seems odd to me. He has had a great run. All of his all of his high school and college for me. Household name in the South, needs love.
That
You
was
want to
more
talk about Ludacris real quick?
so
Ludacris is, I mean, this is what I'll say about Luda. I think Luda was an incredible hit maker. I think that when you talk about his catalog, like just jumping into a verses, going against somebody with his features, his singles, he's top notch with it. And having bars and different flows and different styles, he's at the top of the top when it comes to that, especially in his era. But when it comes to making albums, what are we gonna say is, Ludacris is just straight up best album? I used to say Word of Mouth, but a friend of mine was telling me, Chicken and Beer, and after going back and listening to Chicken and Beer, it is his best album. It's a lot of heat on there. What's that?
It's his most complete project in my opinion.
It is, and I don't think it really ranks with the rest of these, respectfully.
It's just the reality of the matter. If we were doing like best rap singles by year from 2000 to 2010, he would clock in like pretty much every year from about 2000 to about 2006 or 7.
Yeah.
But we're talking about albums, and maybe we need to maybe do some single stuff to give some people like Luda a little bit more love for where they excel at, maybe more so.
Yeah, no, he did an incredible job with that. I mean,
Yeah.
But when you want to try to put his album up against like the Minstrel Show or something like that, it's hard.
It's hard for him.
Yeah, it's hard to do that. Mad Max of the Super Chat says, I hate Lil Wayne, but I have to stand up for him. Carter 3 is his signature album. It's his most iconic album, and it's better than that Outkast album. What do you say to people who pick Carter 3 over Carter 2? Like, make a campaign for Carter 2 over Carter 3. Because I'm really conflicted.
No, I'm not conflicted. I'm not about to do that because this is what I mean about we have to start gauging things on like equal levels. So you're telling me that the impact
everybody's saying the Carter 3. I'm not seeing a lot of Carter 2s.
That's fine. You're saying that the impact matters just as much as the quality of music, because the quality of music is better on the Carter 2, but that's not to say that the Carter 3 isn't quality music. It's just not as good as the Carter 2 music-wise, but impact-wise, far greater than the Carter 2. And so what I'm saying is we have to start ranging that impact scale on a little bit higher level. So people like a Tupac and a Jay and a Rakim are going to weigh more heavily in that matter because of the impact that they have carried on the culture. Because what you're saying to me is that you're picking his most impactful album that has his best music, not the album with the best music.
Well, I think that the barometer of impact is not even close. But I think that the barometer for quality of music, it's a lot closer than the impact gap. You know what I mean? Like, if you look at the impact of the Carter 2 and you look at the impact of the Carter 3, that is way more of a gap than if you look at the quality of music of Carter 2 and the quality of 3. Because on 3, it could be argued that he was more versatile, right? He was working with more of an array of producers. Ye's on there. You got T-Pain on there. You know what I mean? Like, he has a lot of versatility going on there.
Yeah, Alchemist.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you got records like Candy Shop, which I'm not Candy Shop, Lollipop, which I'm not a huge fan of. Not a huge fan of either one of those records. But it was a hit. It was I remember when they dropped that record. I think I was watching like MTV Jams or something when they debuted it. And I'm like, what is he doing? This record's not going to work. And it did. and it worked in a real big way. I don't know if he had that record in him on the Carter Two.
Well, you want to know what I think happened? Carter too is the Carter got him back on the scene and in with the younger modern crowd, and that's where the sound came from. Like the Carter Two is the buy-in. That's what I mean. Is it's like he had enough chips to go to the big boys table, and I mean, he put his money to the center of the table, and he hit big on the Carter Two, and so he had some equity. Like for the first time, here's what I mean when he had equity. No, he had equity as an MC that he never had before. People wanted to do joints with him. He was rapping so damn good. You feel what I'm saying? It was never like that. It's like you wanted a Cash Money sound when you fucked with Wayne before that. No, after that, it's you were fucking with Wayne about Wayne.
Is there a record on the Carter 2 better than a Millie?
Money on My Mind's better than a Millie.
You think Money on My Mind's better than a Millie?
It always has been.
I like Money on My Mind a lot. I love the Runners. I wish that sound could have stayed around longer, but I don't know. Man, this one's close. I think we need a poll for this one.
Better. I think the beat's better too. How about that?
I think the beat's better. Now I'm with you on that. I mean, the Runners.
On Money on My Mind.
Money on My Mind's hard.
Speakers. Go get a real system in your whip and play that shit. Tell me what's better.
The Runner shit was hard, man. Darren Harris from Super Chat says, "How is Outkast's fourth best album better than those classics? I smell some ATL bias." Well, thanks, Darren. I mean, I'm conflicted too, but when Coop kind of went down the line on the songs, I think Stankonia is being unfairly compared to the rest of Outkast's catalog. If you isolate Stankonia and say, look, we're going to put it up against this album, Stankonia is not an easy album to beat.
Actually, I mean, if you start isolating Stankonia, Mike, it's more top 10 than it is 10 to 20, actually. If you start isolating it.
It was very successful. And
but think about the impact. Think about the impact.
No, you're right.
Right. So,
and I think it also suffers from the fact that it came out in the first year of the 2000s.
How about this? I mean, all due respect, Stankonia is more impactful than the albums that we have 1 and 2 on our list.
It is. Speaking of 1 and 2, what do you think about like Water for Chocolate being in this second?
Ooh, I like Water for Chocolate more than I like almost most of the shit that you just named.
Okay.
But Stankonia is actually top 10. I'm gonna tell you who's suffering today. Damn. It's real.
Eric Terrell says, what about Blue Carpet Treatment from Snoop? I like that album a lot. You know the Snoop album that I like from that era? I bought this album. It was one of the last CDs I bought. Huh?
Rhythm and Gangsta.
Rhythm and Gangsta is my shit.
Rhythm and Gangsta.
Rhythm and Gangsta is my shit. That's a personal favorite. Now, it's kind of like that Blackout album, like I told y'all with Redman and Method Man. I'm not going to fight you to put it on the list, but that's my personal shit.
I think like the first 7, 8, 9 records on Rhythm and Gangsta.
Oh, Optimus is on there too.
The highlight reel.
It's just hard.
Yeah, it's a highlight reel on there.
I remember when Let's Get Blown came out, and I was like, oh yeah, I got to go buy this album.
Ooh, so I tell you that, man, I think Stankonia is better than if we were redoing this list right now, I'd put Stankonia where Hell Hath No Fury is at number 7, like actually.
Wow.
Just honest, if we're going to be objective, because think about the impact of Stankonia.
This is difficult. Even the second time around, this is difficult. I don't know. The impact is huge.
It's like,
the impact is huge. I'll give you that.
I think what you're finding is that like your best artists, Nas, Jay-Z, Kanye, are making the best work still because you have 222, you have 223. So they're taking up 7 of your 20. But it's like after those albums made by those guys and like all-time great efforts by Common, 50, and Ghost, it's like, yeah, Stankonia.
You know what somebody said on our Facebook page when they saw this list? They said, this is a New York list. And I'm sitting there looking like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 technically. I guess half of it's New York. But you got Jay-Z, Nas, 50 Cent, and Ghostface, and Doom, who's really from the UK. So you have 4 New York people on here. So it's like, Well, who should we take off, and why is this a New York list? We got Face on here, we got Clips on here, we got Game on here, we got Ye on here, we got Common on here. It's a Chicago list.
Can I tell you how honest I feel?
Hmm.
Can I tell you how I'm honest I feel?
What's up?
I think Hell Hath No Fury, the documentary, Mad Villainy, and The Fix may need to get moved out of the top 10 and into the 10 to the 20. And we need to slide Stank on in.
And what else? The Black Album, Lost Tapes.
No, probably. Damn, are they still rapping better than everybody else around then?
I think so.
No. Late Registration. No. Fuck those albums.
Yeah.
And those Nas and J albums. No, Late Registration goes in after Stank.
Late Registration is incredible.
Late Registration is phenomenal, and you know it.
I know it. It's actually my personal favorite Kanye album.
That shit.
Because like I said, man, when he came back and Diamonds was the first single, and this man's like, close your eyes and imagine, feel the magic, Vegas on acid, seen through East St. Laurent glasses. And I'm like, yeah, this ain't the same rapper that was on The Wire Through the Wire and Jesus Walks. It's not the same rapper.
Mike, if we're being objective, the records on Get Rich or Die Trying are too big for B.
They're too what?
Big.
Uh-huh.
Like, the albums are too close, and the advantage usually goes to the guy that hits the home runs.
It should be number 2.
Yeah, Get Rich or Die Trying should be number 2.
And you know, well, someone would ask why is...
It's because, Mike, the song of that era, like, personally made you look. Down south, what you know. Objectively. Go.
Yeah.
Like, that's the song of that era. Over grinding, over made you look, over what you know in the club is the record. It's the record.
You're right. It was everywhere. You had to be there. Like,
it's the record. Yeah.
Yeah. You couldn't. 50 became a household name overnight, literally.
No, and the album really was a moment, and it was special. It's number 2 after Supreme.
I think B is a moment too. You know,
it's just not.
It's not the same, but I think that the career.
I think it's a better album.
Yeah, but I think that the career. I think the impact's there too, right? The career that Common has right now and has had ever since B is because of that album. Like, we wouldn't see Common in all these movies, just like you wouldn't see Michael Strahan on Good Morning America and every other thing on television if it wasn't for the helmet catch. This is exactly how B is for Common. Common wouldn't be out here like this if not for this album.
Same thing about 50 Richard. No, Mike.
You're right.
Think about what we've gotten from 50, not just musically and what other artists we've gotten.
Television.
TV and film as well.
No, you're right.
And media and radio. Like, think about it. And think about, like, fashion. Like, think about all the things that 50 has covered. It's like, no, there's no 50 without Get Rich or Die Trying. And Get Rich or Die Trying was the bigger moment, even though it's not the better album song for song.
We can say the same thing about Supreme Clientele, too. It's like, what makes us not move?
Clientele's just fucking better than everything else, Mike.
It's
just better. When it comes on, it's just better.
Yeah, the shit's incredible. But it has a very impactful single, too. Like, he has
No. It sounds like you rapping on Saturn. These other niggas are rapping on Venus.
Well, I'm glad you said it because I thought I was biased. When I heard Supreme Clientele, Ghost immediately became one of my favorite, if not my favorite rappers.
It's like watching Picasso become famous up in this motherfucker. That's what Supreme Clientele is.
Mad Max to the Super Chat says, quality is subjective. Impact isn't. And where is Nelly's Country Grammar? Ain't no way a Diamond album don't make the top 20. Again, it's kind of like the Luda discussion. Country Grammar is more so about singles other than an end-to-end album, I think.
It is, because the album is good, but it's not like, oh my God.
This is the thing I'll say about Country Grammar. You listen to that album, nigga, you know what the singles are. Ain't no surprises. The songs that got released are the best songs on there by far. Like, they are.
Not even a question.
Yeah, it's not like you got like some deep album cuts where it's like, yo, man, that shit should have got put out, or that shit was the shit. They slept on that. No, everything that should have been out on Country Grammar got put out because those songs were just that great.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're talking about singles, once again, Nelly's there. I think I've argued for Nelly to be one of the best hit makers
No,
ever in hip hop.
we be playing a lot of Nelly, Ja Rule, Luda,
Hmm.
right?
Those
But
guys just didn't make the albums that, let's just say, somebody like a Kanye West did. He just did. You can't really sit there and justify putting Country Grammar up against one of Kanye's first three albums and just saying end to end, from a production standpoint, from a subject matter standpoint, from a creative standpoint, not to mention the incredible skits that are on these Ye albums, and say, okay, well, this album belongs in the conversation with these three. It doesn't.
well, people, and I think this is one of those things people forget too, and why Supreme Clientele is number one. Because we can talk about beat and Get Rich or Die Trying for days, because those guys have become bigger crossover and commercial stars than Ghost. You really couldn't say that Wu-Tang was the greatest hip hop group of all time until Supreme Clientele came in. Like, Supreme Clientele is the reason that they are the greatest rap group ever. Because when Supreme Clientele comes out, you have to understand. Like, you have to understand. This is like the guy that bats fifth or sixth in your lineup, showing up and winning the MVP award. You understand? He's not like the first or second or third hitter. He's not even the fourth hitter. You have Method Man, you have Old Dirty Bastard, Raekwon the Chef, and the Jizza, and in a lot of people's minds, Inspector Deck ahead of him as an MC.
At that point, until that album came out, yeah.
At that point, until that album came out. And keep in mind, this is after Iron Man, Bulletproof, and Wu-Tang Forever, and people still felt that way. So to have a guy that bats six in your lineup make one of the best rap albums ever, Mike.
No.
The guy who bats six make one of the best rap albums ever.
And we talk about this all the time. Like, dude was out rapping everybody. And it has some features on there. Shit, the whole clan's on there, with the exception of Old Dirty. And you can't even tell. It feels like his album the whole time. No matter who's on the record. Inspector, he produced something on there. Inspector doesn't rap on there, but Inspector produced Dex beat or whatever. You know what I mean? But when Ray's on there, when Meth's on there, shit, Redman, in my opinion, Kappa's on there, Jizza's on there, Ghost is still the main attraction on every single record.
It's almost as good with Swords. Think about that. It's almost as good as Liquid Swords to me. You think it's better than Liquid Swords? But think about what you're saying. This 5 or 6 years after their peak, Mike. Yeah. This isn't the guy.
And I think what's so impressive about this album, not to interrupt you, is the fact that it goes out of that chamber. It's not even when they're at that rhythm of when they were making their first round of solo efforts and all those RZA beats. He spreads it out. Even though RZA was the executive producer, you got Carlos Brody on there. You got Juju on there, and nobody in the clan had really proved at that moment that they can make an album that great with people outside of the clan producing on it. You know what I mean?
All these things are true, and also let's forget the fact that this dude was sick and in prison.
Yeah.
Right. He was sick and in prison. He almost died, and he got locked up.
Incredible. Andrew Green says the Carter 2 versus the Carter 3 argument is exactly like Jay-Z Volume 1 versus Volume 2. Better album is Volume 1, but Volume 2 is considered the seminal work from Impact.
Very much so.
That is a very great observation. You know what? This is what we're going to do. I think the Carter 2 deserves that nod. Because we're over here, according to hip hop, I think we put the quality of material over the commercial stuff. It's always great when the quality of material gets you that commercial gain. But I can honestly say, I like the Carter 2 better than the Carter 3. And I don't think there's anything that Wayne did on the Carter 3 to really exceed what he did on the Carter 2. It was just his time. I think it was just so much work that he had continuously put in. The Carter 3, it was just that moment. And I think A Milli was that, game changing moment where a lot of people who weren't aware of Lil Wayne, at least at that level, of him rapping like that, were now aware. I think the same thing could have happened for the Carter 2 if the timing was there. I think the Carter 3 success has a lot to do with timing. Saying all that to say.
Well, the piggyback. The Carter 3, musically speaking, like song for song, this is what I mean. You're remembering A Milli. You're remembering the moment. Who's really playing Mr. Carter?
I never liked that record.
You feel what I'm saying? But think about it, Mike. You already said you never really liked Lollipop. So we got 2 records on this album that you already know it's not really that hot. But we're talking about we putting it in our top 20. It's like, no, we're talking about the moment. We're not talking about the music.
You're right.
And our job is to talk about the music. Because here's the thing about it. No. You can have your moment and make quality music. Supreme Clientele. B, Get Rich or Die Trying. Hell, even Stankonia.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, he shouldn't get a pass just because his moment. Plenty other, like, that's Outkast's breakout moment. The music on Stankonia is better than the music on the Carter 3.
You know what? When I went back and listened to Stankonia, like maybe a couple of months ago, I appreciate Stankonia a lot more than I did initially. Mm-hmm. It ages very well because they were thinking so far ahead,
We ain't got nothing else.
Yeah. Michael Williams with the Super Chat says, I feel like Common isn't placed high enough on the all-time greatest list. His catalog is stacked, and his top 5 albums can go toe-to-toe with almost anyone. I want to do a sidebar real quick. Why do you think that is? Cool. Because I know we've talked about this offline sometimes, I believe, but...
No, could be some East Coast bias. I mean, I think Common and Scarface and Ice Cube are probably the ones that suffered genre and generationally from the East Coast bias the most. And when I say East Coast bias, I don't mean it like a negative connotation. I mean it like it's the birthplace and so much more material has been skewed and viewed from that scope.
And in their era, not to cut you off, it's the media capital of the world, right? You know what I'm saying? So the coverage, coverage is a lot different. And you can even look at when Ice Cube got his 5 mics in the Source. He got that 5 mics when he worked on an album in New York with the Bomb Squad.
Republican in his production.
And none of the Death Certificate didn't get that same level of adoration from New York media. So yes, you're right. I think Cube, Face, and Common suffer from, not being from New York in an era where New York media basically ran the narrative.
Listen, so did Snoop. I just read the Source review for Doggy Style this morning.
Mm-hmm.
4 mics. You know what they knocked Doggy Style for? For Snoop having too many guest appearances on the album and not taking control of the mic enough himself. I'm like, what the hell were they listening to?
They weren't listening to Who Am I? Or Murder Was the Case? Or Gin and Juice?
Or Gin and Juice? The bulk of the album, Lottie Dottie, hello.
The records that actually made the album as great as it was. The records
that made the album epic, right? Like, what are we doing?
So y'all knocking him for, what was it?
He knocked him for, they literally said he invited too many homies to the party. And I'm thinking,
what homies messed it up?
That's what I mean. Talking about and that's what they said. It's not like they messed it up. They just wanted to hear more of Snoop. I'm like, y'all are so full of shit. Y'all will find any reason not to.
That's not a legit critique when you got Murder Was the Case, Gin and Juice, and What's My Name on there. That's not a legit gripe.
The shiznit.
Yeah, the shiznit. Yes. I can't forget that.
Murder Was the Case is like, what do you want? That's solo dolo shit, Mike.
G's and Hustlers.
Solo dolo shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's bias. That's bias.
So that's the bias.
So what was the critique on Volume 2 for Jay?
I don't know. It sure as hell got 4.5. It sure as hell got rated higher than Doggy Style.
And it sure as hell got a lot of motherfuckers on there. That's a compilation album. I think the song "Hard Not Life" is the only record he got by himself on there, unless you count the Kid Capri record, but Kid Capri's on there.
I think Go is still his record, even though it's short on the hook.
Yeah, Short's on there though.
He still got all the bar work though.
He does. There's a lot of features on there. I mean, if you want to talk about inviting homies to the party, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's funny how it doesn't apply to the Brooklyn MC when he's having his seminal 5 million record selling moment.
Yeah.
But when the guy from Long Beach, California is having his $5 million big selling record moment, and they're running rap.
Because that was one of my critiques of Volume 2. I wanted to hear Jay more.
They was running rap, Mike. Like Snoop was running rap before Doggy Style even came out. They was just mad.
Yeah.
It was tired of Ice Cube and Tupac and Snoop and Dre.
And W.A.
Right. Yeah. Running shit. Right.
Yeah. Hey, Darius Campbell. I mean, because my thing is, and I love De La Soul is Dead. And I love All For One from Brand Nubian. But you give De La Soul is Dead, All For One, and you know I love Tribe's first album. You give all those 5 mics. And you give Let the Rhythm Hit 'Em 5 mics, which I'm not mad at. But you give Doggy Style 4, there's some bias going on. It just is what it is.
What kind of chronic are you smoking?
You could at least give it 4.5, man. But when you give that 4, and you give those other efforts I just told you 5,
this is when I was telling you those 5s ain't 5s like that, Mike, because you can't be telling me that shit's a 5 and then go hear the Chronic and Doggy Style. Man, this is no disrespect to De La Soul Brand Nubian.
You're right.
Not go around telling me some De La Soul's Dead, some All For One. It's fucking with the Chronic and Doggy Style.
And I'm a person that De La Soul is Dead is my favorite De La album. And I think it is a 5 mic album. But you're not going to give that 5 and give Doggy Style 4. Because in my opinion, if De La Soul is Dead is 5, which I believe it is, Doggy Style is 5.5.
That's what I'm saying. Even there's levels to the 5. It's like your 5 is a top 25 to 50 album. This is the top 5 album.
Right. So to answer your question, yeah, Common's underrated for a lot of reasons, but one of the main reasons is because the era that he came up in and was being very consistent and excellent and great in, he was kind of getting ignored by the Mecca. And I believe if Common was from Queens, I believe if Scarface was from Brooklyn, they would be rated quite differently. I'm just saying.
You know what? Hold on. You want to know what type? And I'm saying this disrespectfully. I'm saying this respectfully. If Common was from Queens, if Face was from Brooklyn, if Snoop was from the Bronx, they would be getting Jadakiss treatment.
No, you're right. Darius Campbell with the Super Chat says, what's your favorite Rick Ross album of the 2000s? Man, at first it used to be Deeper Than Rap, but Coop has convinced me that God Forgives and I Don't is the one.
It is. It's just it's too much heat.
It's incredible.
3 Kings, 9/11.
What year is that?
I think that's like 2000. Oh, hell.
Oh, man. You know what? We need to go on to a different decade, and we'll come back. We'll come back to this on our own time, because this decade gets very convoluted. The Raisin Head with the Super Chat says, would you like Bonds Over Bad Dad if it came out by an unknown new artist? Hustler Music is Wayne's best song. We love the show in Rock Hill, South Carolina. Appreciate the love, Rock Hill, South Carolina. And your answer is yes. If it was an unknown artist that made Bonds Over Bad Dad, yes, I would love it to the same degree. Honestly, when I first heard Bonds Over Bad Dad, I hated it because it was Cass. And I was like, this isn't what I want to hear from Cass coming off of Kumina. And then I heard it again. I was like, you know what? It's kind of fire. What are you about to say, Coop?
God Forgives I Don't is 22. And shout out to Rock Hill, South Carolina. That's right around the corner. That's right up the street from Charlotte. I went to my first hip-hop club in high school in Rock Hill, South Carolina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, Max with the Super Chat says, at the Lost Tapes, if the Lost Tapes is a mixtape, if you're going to count that, then what about other mixtapes? Because Soul Tapes from Fab was super impactful. When I was a kid, I couldn't have we couldn't have Lost Tapes be counted. It's not an album. Why is Lost Tapes not an album? Because it's not a mixtape.
Definitely got records for distribution like an album.
Yeah. It got put out by a record label. Maybe it didn't have a traditional single and video and things of that nature, but it's an album. I don't see why it's not. JY with the super chat says, heard him say, touch the sky, gold digger, drive slow, crack music, diamonds, hey mama. Oh yeah, hey mama's a great one. Gone, roses, we made you, masterful to a T. Classic material, man. Kanye was doing it all. Um, how do you feel if we just skip around to, you want to skip to the 90s? Maybe the 90s would be kind of easier.
No, I think we're trying to get somewhere. Like, this cleared up. We're kicking out the Carter 3.
Kicking out the Carter 3. Are we kicking out Below the Heavens and the Cool?
I think we're kicking out Below the Heavens.
You're not high on Below the Heavens. You're not high on the underground stuff.
No, it's just like the underground. It's hard for the underground to compete with this stuff, like on all sorts of facets of levels. And I prefer that it not have to get juxtaposed to them. Because here's what I'm saying: when you're talking about you love some Below the Heavens, go put that next to the Lost Tapes of the Black Album. Tell me how much you love it still. And those albums barely top 10 for the time. You feel me?
I think
go really put it next to.
How about you do this, Coop? Go listen to Below the Heavens tonight.
How about this? You go listen to Hell Hath No Fury tonight.
I will. I love Hell Hath No Fury. I do.
But I'll listen to Below the Heavens again. And people felt like it was the album of the year that it came out. And I just wasn't in love with it. I just wasn't. And I'm still not. And it's nothing personal. It's a dope project.
Leroy Green with the super chat says, what's up with the 2010s?
We're going to be here all day. Let's
all right. And Soundmind says the 90s is way too easy. Go to the 2010s. Fuck.
I was like thinking the 80s. I was actually thinking we need to go to the 80s.
I think we got to start a show with the 80s. I think since we in here,
the 2020 is too convoluted. We're gonna be here too long. Why I already know that.
Why do you think so? I think that's probably the weakest decade. I think Kendrick has 3 albums in it.
Yes.
Rattling that off right now, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, right?
Correct.
Would you say Damn is in this?
Yes.
Good Kid.
Absolutely. Unequivocally.
Forest Hill.
Yep. Life is Good, To Pimp a Butterfly.
Life is Good. Okay. I want to get some stuff from the people in the chat. What do y'all say for the 2010s?
Well, that's the early 2000s stuff that was great. God Forgives and I Don't is 2012 too. I'm cool with putting that down right now.
Okay. God Forgives. We'll get to it. What about Astro World, Daytona?
Yep, you already know.
Daytona's high. Victory Lap. All right. All right. You want to know how many that is right now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We got 10 right now. Section 80. What you think?
Section 80 is 2009, ain't it? Or is it 2010?
Oh, if Section 80 is 2009, maybe we have an argument for it, somewhere else.
Never going anywhere.
Since we want to talk about mixtapes and whatnot. No, it's 2011. Kendrick got his whole catalog in here. Freddie Gibbs, Pinata.
And Bandana. And Alfredo. Or the Alfredo 2020, never mind.
Yeah, Alfredo's 2020.
Yeah, I'm with Pinata. Are we doing 20?
No, let's just do 10. Let's start with 10.
Okay.
We got to get to 20.
Hold on. First of all, what do you like more, Pinata or Bandana?
Pinata. What about you?
Me personally, Bandana, but the consensus seems to be Pinata over Bandana.
Well, let's ask the people, what about Born Sinner? What do you think about that?
No, but but it's close between Pinata and Bandana for me, and I'm okay with going on the Pinata side. So I would tell you, like, definite is My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, Good Kid, Mad City.
Mm-hmm.
Daytona, Astro World, Victory Lap.
Okay.
Life is Good, right?
Okay.
Did I say To Pimp a Butterfly already?
No, you didn't.
Yeah, To Pimp a Butterfly and Damn.
Forest Hill.
Forest Hills.
And let's see. Antonio with the super chat says Blueprint versus King's Disease. I got my money on the King's Disease trilogy. He's talking about the
Yeah, I'm
trilogy.
cool with Pinata after that. I'm cool with Pinata at 10 right there.
Let's see. What is this? Testus and Youth? What do you think?
No, it's not better than Pinata.
For your eyes. For your eyes only. Born Sinner.
No, it's not better than Pinata.
Mad Max is like, life is good. Dirty Sprite 2. Okay.
30 Sprite might deserve some love.
What about Big Crit?
No,
Okay.
not top.
Take Care from Drake.
That's that impact that outweighing the quality of the music. Because, like, is Take Care better than If You're Reading This? It's Almost Too Late.
Man on the Moon 2.
No.
Fly God.
No.
Joey Badass 1999.
I like it, but no.
If You're Reading This, It's Too Late.
Maybe. That's the one I was thinking about.
Kids See Ghosts. I like
No.
that.
If You're Reading This, It's Too Late, or Pinata, what say you, Mike?
Is that the choice?
I would think so, because we're at 9. I think we got the 3 Kendrick albums, right?
Oh, let me get through this real quick, and I just want to see what the people are saying. Okay, Culture, Dragus Wave. Somebody said Rodeo over at Astro World. That's not the first time I ever heard that. I was listening to Rodeo the other day. Rodeo is hard. Travis could easily have another one in here because the Brian McKnight album.
No, I know a lot of people feel that way. They feel like Rodeo is better than Astro World.
Even the Brian McKnight album, the Birds Sing Brian McKnight, that shit's got some hard stuff on there.
I know people that prefer like the prior shit to Astro World, actually.
Yeah. Forever is a mighty long time. That's the double disc from Big Crit. Run the Jewels. What do you think?
No.
Got Born Center. It doesn't look like we have too many names outside. What about ASAP Rocky?
Long Live ASAP?
Yeah.
Maybe. That's a contender. Yeah. Long Live ASAP shit was hard.
Yeah, he's a game changer for that era. Let's see. Raising Head with the super chat says Tana Talk for the 2010s, easy. Control System, Absol. Tribe's album was 2016. Recovery from Eminem. Man, this era was kind of weak, guys. Kendrick dominated in a weak era. Let's just keep it real. We're seeing it right now.
Do you think Life is Good as a top 10 album for this time, Mike?
What's that?
You think Life is Good as deserves to be in this top 10?
We're going to see in a second. I want to kind of just check off the records and stuff. But from what I'm seeing, I wouldn't say. If it is, it's on the back end. What about Royce, man? I see somebody said something about Prime. But what about the record that he did, The Book of Ryan?
Is that what's talking about, The Book of Ryan?
No, somebody said Prime, but I was thinking about The Book of Ryan. What do you think? No?
No.
Okay. See another Dirty Sprite 2. Mad Max says Good Kid, Mad City. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Astro World. Victory Lap. 2014. Long Live ASAP. Culture. Dirty Sprite 2. To Pimp a Butterfly. That's the top 10, in my opinion. No debate.
What do you think about?
What do I think about Culture?
Mm-hmm.
Impact is heavy. And I think from T-Shirt all the way up to Slippery is banger after banger after banger. And then it drops off a little bit. So as a complete album, I'm going to say no. And this is from probably the biggest Migo fan in this whole thing right now. But as an album, because I ain't gonna lie to you, like that's the run that I do. Like when I'm working out or whatever, I'm putting T-shirt and then I'm just letting it go into Slippery, and then after that, it's kind of like change around. Um, so no, ooh, blank face, oxymoron, that
Ooh,
stuff,
ooh,
that part. Ooh, Rock Marciano, man, it sucks.
blank face.
Blank face,
Ooh,
blank face is heavy.
man.
Catalytica. Yeah, I thought that was Big Crit's best effort. The Catalytica. What's that called?
I was just singing blank face. I ain't heard that in a minute. Yeah, there's a lot
Blank
of shit.
face. Okay.
There's a lot of stuff everywhere. That's what I was saying. We could do a 20-pack again, easy.
What about Rhapsody's Eve?
Not top 10. Maybe top
Probably
20.
the best hip hop album of 2019, though.
Yeah, I was like, but maybe not top 10 now.
Mad Max
Top
says
10.
"Take Care" would have been in, but to me, it's an R&B album with rapping on it. Okay.
Fair enough.
I think we're not seeing anything new at this point. Yeah, everything everybody's kind of mentioned. So let's go through what we got.
Okay.
007 says Eminem show for the 2000s. Mike, you overlooked that. My bad.
No, he didn't.
Leroy Green with the super chat says Watch the Throne was like the rap Michael Jackson and Prince of the 2010s. What say you to Watch the Throne? Because I feel like Watch the Throne's a moment. It's hard for it not to be in this.
I say Leroy spent a lot of money for his advances to be unwarranted, unsolicited, and turned away.
Does anybody else think that Watch the Throne should be in this?
No, because if we just had the quality conversation, then no, because you're talking about impact.
JY says the Roots album. Roots album. I guess he's talking about Scarface Roots.
I don't know what he's saying.
Dream Chaser.
No.
Man, 2010s is kind of about singles from what I'm seeing. Oxymoron, though. What do you think about Oxymoron?
Well, we got
Because a lot of people are saying Oxymoron.
Oxymoron deserves some consideration. Had some hits on there, had some music on there. Collard Green, Studio.
Yeah.
Blind Threats with Raekwon, What They Want with 2 Chainz.
Yeah.
Yay Yay. Hoover Street. It's got some heat on there, Mike.
I see another good one. Supreme Blind Tell, man. What say you?
I feel the way about Blind Tell kind of that you feel like about Migos' Culture after Slippery. After Elizabeth goes off, I feel like it drops off a little bit.
Yeah, I think they both have incredible impact, and everything that we're even seeing today from the Griselda camp comes from that album.
But I say this too. Like Blind Tell has 3 of like my 10 favorite Griselda songs on it. Like it has God's Bleed, Brutus, and Elizabeth on there. Those are 3 of my top 10 out their whole camp. It's on that one album.
Brutus is the best. My favorite Griselda song.
Man, Gods Don't Bleed is disgusting, man. He starts off an album with Kiss and Benny like that. It's like, ugh.
I remember hearing that album. I was like, yo, man, these dudes are different. Something was going. I knew hip hop was changing when I heard that album.
I've been listening to them like some here and there. People have been telling me about them, but when I heard that, it's like, oh, these niggas different.
Yeah, Supreme Blind Tell changed a lot, and it's funny that it goes by that name. And we were just talking about the 2000s being set off by Supreme Clientele. So, okay. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is definite, right?
My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy and Good Kid, Mad City are forever etched in stone in this era.
They're probably number 1 and 2.
That's 1 and 2.
After that.
To
Pimp a Butterfly.
Daytona, To Pimp a Butterfly.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not going in order, but yes, Daytona.
I'm trying to go in some sort of order because I think those are our top 4 right there.
No, To Pimp a Butterfly.
Yeah, To Pimp a Butterfly, Daytona, and I'm trying to figure out what would be number 5.
I like Victory Lap more than Astro World, Mike, but that's just me.
Do you?
I do, but
Okay.
objectively, I
I'm
feel
not
like
mad at that. Do you like Victory Lap more than you like Forest Hill Drive?
no. Forest Hill Drive.
So Forest Hill Drive is probably our number 5.
Actually, if you want to put Forest Hill Drive ahead of Daytona, I'm okay with that because Cole is on a whole solo mission.
Okay.
It's a solo mission. Rick Ross and Kanye are on Daytona. That is pretty big, heavy hitting.
That is.
Yeah.
And given some stellar features too.
Yeah, they gave some stellar features.
What about Wu Massacre dropped in 2010? Sure did. What about Damn? Right after that?
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
Okay. So we got Damn.
Put Astro World up yet?
No. So we got Astro World. Boom. Pinata. What do you think? What do we think about Section 80? Because it's gonna look really crazy if we got a top 10 from the previous era and we only pretty much did one album per artist because it's no lost tapes in there, it's no Black Album in there, and it's no late registration in there. But with this top 10, it's gonna look like damn near all of Kendrick's albums are in this list.
Well, I don't think Section 80 is better than God Forgives and I Don't, or Life is Good for one.
Okay.
So I don't have those issues with Section 80 because I don't think it's better than those albums.
Okay, so we just got 3 Kendrick albums in there.
And I think those... How's Damn holding up to you?
I don't think it's holding up that great, to be honest.
Because to be honest with you, I think God Forgives and I Don't is actually sounding better to Damn to me. What do you say to that?
I'm with that.
And so I would tell you that we might need to slide Damn and put a little star by Damn and just say that for now Kendrick has 2 in there. Because I think Pimp a Butterfly and Good Kid, Mad City are clear. I don't think Damn is as clear.
Distant Relatives.
No, Life is Good is better than Distant Relatives.
You think so? I don't think it's that big of a gap.
It
Pinata.
Is. I think Life is Good is better than Pinata. What say you?
I think so too.
Right.
Jogger's Wave. I love that album.
Yeah, I know you do. It's just it was hard for me to get into the production on the album, and I would still lean towards Life is Good over Droga's Way.
What about Oxymoron and the Blank Face Argument?
Now that's where we're having a problem with Life is Good, in my opinion. Because I would tell you that I think it's in the end definitely better than Blank Face, but doesn't have the highlights that Blank Face does. Oxymoron. How about this? I think Life is Good is a better album end to end than both of them. But Oxymoron's pretty fucking close to being better in the end, and it's definitely got bigger moments.
Okay.
So I'm okay if you I'm actually okay sticking it between Oxymoron and Blank Face.
What about Long Live ASAP?
Long Live ASAP's better than... Long Live ASAP should be ahead of all of those albums that we just named, probably, objectively.
Okay. So it's in the top 10.
Yeah. After we got off the Daytona lap, it should have went to Long Live ASAP, and then Astro World, and then probably God Forgives, Life is Good, and then whatever's left.
Okay. All right. So this is what we got here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, I have 11 counted, and the other one that we didn't discuss is If You're Reading This Is Too Late. What do you think about that?
You talking about impact? This is what I mean about the quality is there too, but I mean that's more impactful than it is quality because it's I think the way we would be doing this right now, I think Life is Good would be at 10 and Blank Face would be cut off.
Okay, Blank Face is cut off. You got Oxymoron ahead of Life is Good?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Man says, is this list based on bar work or popularity / impact? All of those things combined. Okay. So these are the ones that we have here. Oxymoron. No Order. Long Live ASAP. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Good Kid, Mad City. Damn. Forest Hill Drive. To Pimp a Butterfly. Life is Good is still on here. Astro World. Daytona Victory Lap. Now, you got God Forgives I Don't ahead of Life is Good and
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay. So that kind of takes Life is Good and Damn out. So that means we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's our 10. Pinata's out too.
Mm-hmm.
All
Told you
right.
we could put another 20.
Huh. It's an interesting 10. Mad Max of the Super Chat says, who under 30 would put Life is Good in the top 10 of the 2010s? Like, let's stop that. That album had no impact on the decade. So much so that the Nasir album had more buzz than Life is Good. Young man speaking out here.
But it's
Yeah,
not
I
just
think, yeah. I
but
mean, you got to look at the impact
it's
on the decade. Yeah. You got to look at the impact on the decade. Okay, so let's try to put this in order. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, I'm just going to say number 1 or number 2?
Say what now?
My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, number 1 or number 2?
Number one.
Okay. Good Kid Mad City, number 2?
Yep.
To Pimp a Butterfly, number 3?
Yep.
Whew. Let me put numbers by these. 2, 3. And I think you said Forest Hill Drive, number 4?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Daytona, number 5?
Mm-hmm.
Victory Lap 6, or was that Long Live ASAP?
I would actually put ahead of Victory Lap.
You put what?
Long Live ASAP ahead of Victory Lap.
What about God Forgives and I Don't?
No.
ASAP?
That's behind those.
Okay. So I got 6 for Long Live ASAP. Now what we got left is God Forgives I Don't, Astro World, Oxymoron, and Victory Lap.
Yep.
Victory Lap 7?
Yep. And God Forgives.
What about Astro?
I would put Astro after God Forgives just because, I mean, think about how Ross
And
is rapping.
Oxy at 10. Wow.
It's like, because on God Forgives, I mean, think about the shit that Ross has on there. Diced Pineapples is on there. Hold Me Back is on there. Amsterdam's on there. 16's on there. Three Kings is on there. Pirates is on there. So Sophisticated is on there. Triple Beam Dreams is on there.
Jesus Pieces.
Jesus Piece. 10 Jesus Pieces with Stylings on. Mark, it's a classic. It's stellar what he did on there. Yeah.
I mean, the 2010s, you can't ignore what Ross has done.
See, but I told you we could do 20 because it's like there's so many albums that are getting left off that are like worthy. You know what I'm saying? Think about it. Pinata, Life is Good, Blank Face. These albums aren't making the top 10.
Christopher Hogan says, no Wiz, Kush, and Orange Juice. Do you think that we put Forest Hill Drive too high?
No. How many MCs do you know from this era can go make an album like that by themselves?
That's fair. I like Deeper Than Rap a lot, too.
Because every Kendrick album has a little bit of help. Mike Forest Hill Drive has no help. It is the one modern-day classic that doesn't have any help.
I got to give you that. Well, you know what? That wasn't as hard as we thought. I see some Big Crit stuff here.
No.
I fuck with Crit. But
no, I fuck with Crit too, but I mean, what Crit project is on the level of these songs that we talking like what Crit album is fucking with God Forgives and I Don't?
Some people would say Crit was here.
Name the songs.
No, I'm just saying this is that's his most heralded effort.
Name the songs the way I just listed off Ross's classics. It sounds like the greatest hits record on one album.
You right. Let's try to do the 90s real quick. You game to do that? I know this takes a lot out of us when we do this. It's like we're in a heavyweight fight, going round for round.
We are. It's so problematic.
Okay, the 90s, right? I got Doggy Style.
I mean, Illmatic,
I got the Crowd.
Doggy Style, the Chronic, the Low End Theory, the infamous, the Purple Tape. Pause.
Hold on. Slow down. Purple Tape. Ill, Illmatic.
The low end theory,
Yeah.
the chronic and dog.
This is where we're at right now. And I want to pause because, I don't want to leave anything out. I mean, the 90s is super stacked. You got Doggy Style, Chronic, Purple Tape, Illmatic, Low End Theory. That's five. We hadn't even mentioned Ready to Die or Life After Death. I don't know if the Infamous is going to make it. I don't. We got five more to go, Coop. We hadn't said anything about Reasonable Doubt. You got the Infamous over Reasonable Doubt?
Yes.
No. I love the Infamous. It's not better.
Death I want to Patreon that.
Oh, I would love to do that. Death certificate.
Put a star by death certificate.
That's my jam. Is Reasonable Doubt a top 10 hip hop album of the 90s?
No.
What?
We're at 5. Mike, it's not better than Die or Life After Death. How is it top 10 when it's not better than Ready to Die or Life After Death? Please explain that to me.
Is All Eyes on Me top 10?
Hold on, before we go any further, no, pause. Before we add anybody, number 6 on here, Enter the Wu-Tang, 36 Chambers.
That's in there.
That's in there. That's number 6. Now, which Biggie album are we picking? Both, maybe?
Y'all said that, Life After Death is better than Ready to Die.
But Mike, if we're talking the 90s, I would tell you that they both probably belong to be in there. He would be the one person that probably deserves 2 slots from that era.
Does Akumanai deserve to be on there?
Well, that goes back to how we want to measure that impact thing. If we're going to rate the quality of the albums the way that we should, it should be there. But where's the impact in relationship to all this? Let me ask you a realistic question, Mike. Do you think Reasonable Doubt's better than It's Dark and Hell is Hot when you listen to it?
I was just about to say, somebody says in the super chat, JY says It's Dark and Hell is Hot. I'm going to tell you this. I would rank It's Dark and Hell is Hot over Reasonable Doubt.
Well, then, but It's Dark and Hell is Hot's not better than Life After Death or Ready to Die, so how is Reasonable Doubt?
I'm going to tell you this. It's Dark and Hell is Hot can possibly be better than Ready to Die. It's possible. It's not a crazy thought. It's not. Because the thing is, with Ready to Die, you could tell that it was recorded over different periods. Being nitpicky here. Respect is on there, which I think is a mid. You don't have the remix of One More Chance on there. Who Shot You's not on there. Now, if we're talking about all these deluxe versions of Ready to Die, sure. But if we're talking about the original Ready to Die versus the original It's Dark and Hell is Hot, I think It's Dark and Hell is Hot might be the better album. It is what it is.
So we know for a fact that we don't know if Reasonable Doubt or Ready to Die is making this list, but It's Dark and Hell is Hot is?
It
so
is.
That was number 7.
It is. That's
number 7. Because we both agree that deserves to be in the top 10.
What do you think about All Eyes on Me?
I was thinking which Tupac album we're going to pick. Can I just pick book 1?
No. It's a double disc.
Then Me Against the World.
Is it top 10? You gonna put that over Akumanai?
No.
We talking about quality of music here.
See, that's the thing. I don't think this too is the quality. It's hard.
Right now we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 albums.
Hold on, what 9 albums do we have? I thought we was at 7.
Nope, we got Doggy Style, The Chronic, The Purple Tape, Illmatic, The Low End Theory, Enter the 36 Chambers, Life After Death, It's Dark and Hell is Hot, and Akumanai. I mean, where we gonna go? And and we got Death Certificate off to the side, which could easily be the 10th spot.
I would probably. Okay, so I immediately think to myself, I think Ready to Die, Death Certificate, Reasonable Doubt, The Infamous, Liquid Swords.
Liquid Swords.
Liquid Swords, right?
I want to ask the people. Let me name those again. What do y'all think should get the 10th spot? We got Doggy Style. We got the Chronic. We got the Purple Tape. We got Illmatic. The Low End Theory. Into the 36 Chambers. Life After Death. It's Dark and Hell is Hot. And Aquemini. And also let us know if you think something on that list should be removed.
Let the Rhythm Hit 'em. Midnight Marauders. Right. There's all types of stuff to pick from.
No, I mean, shit.
Muddy Waters.
De La Soul is dead, even.
Stakes is high.
Expected what the Super Chat says, 90s got too many. It's unfair to certain albums. Yeah, it is. It is.
You want to know what? I'm just going to stick with my guns, Mike. I'm going to roll with the Infamous because it has more street classics that are remembered and affect the New York landscape than any of those other albums. Shook One's impact still reverberates. Q-Tip's impact still reverberates. I4 and I still reverberates because Nas and Ray are both still active and nice as fuck on the mic. Prodigy reverberates via Griselda. Havoc reverberates via the whole New York scene. Give me the Infamous at 10. Because the Infamous is what actually New York... When people say we're bringing that hip-hop, New York hip-hop sound back, they're talking about the Infamous.
That's a fair point.
About the Infamous. They're talking about the Havoc sound. They're talking about Prodigy's thought process.
You okay with putting the Infamous over Death Certificate?
I am going to have to.
I'm not really comfortable doing that. Marquez Davis with the Super Chat says, Tupac has at least 3 albums. Big has 2. Mobb Deep has the infamous DMX. Nas, It Was Written. Cass has 2. Nah, it's not really shaping up like that.
That's what I'm saying. We do an easy 20 for the 90s because it's like, oh, well, then it's easy. Just give me Reasonable Doubt in there, give me Midnight Marauders, and Let the Rhythm Hit 'em, and It Was Written, and give me Southern Place. Yeah.
Let me see what people are saying. We got Reasonable Doubt should make it. We got the Infamous here.
We forgot about the Diary. Somebody just said the Diary.
Yeah, somebody said DMX got no albums better than Biggie.
I don't feel that way either, Mike. I don't think this Dark and Hell is Hot is better than Ready to Die, but...
Do you not? Let's explore that.
No, I can't honestly say that when Give Me the Loot. No, Give Me the Loot. How about this?
Give Me the Loot is not Stop Being Greedy. It's not. It's not. It's not. It's not. There's no How's It Going Down moment on Ready to Die. It's not.
Big Papa, what are you talking about?
Come on, man.
Big Papa's better than How's It Going Down.
You think I've never heard you big up Big Papa. And first of all, ain't the chick song.
You think How's It Going Down's better than Big Papa?
I think How's It Going Down's better than Me and My Bitch because that's the chick song on there.
The song with the Isley Brothers sample where he's asking ladies to call him Big Papa is not the lady song?
I don't know why you even comparing Big Papa to How's It Going Down because the way the singles go is Get At Me Dog and Rough Riders Anthem. Now, if you want to compare Rough Riders Anthem to Big Papa, give me Rough Riders Anthem.
Hold on. How did it go for Ready to Die?
It was Juicy and Big Papa.
Okay, so you want to compare Big Papa to Rough Riders Anthem and Juicy to Get At Me Dog? You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm comfortable with that.
You can be okay with that, but those aren't better songs, Mike, and I love Get At Me Dog.
I just think from a content standpoint and just as an overall album-making standpoint, DMX did a better job of making an album than Big did on Ready to Die. Obviously, Big is the superior MC, yes. But I feel like what DMX did was one of them once-in-a-lifetime things that you just can't top. Like, he gave you the grit. He gave you versatility. And we're talking about up against Big, who's the most versatile MC ever. But he gave us more versatility on that album than Big did on Ready to Die. He just did.
The songs aren't bad.
I don't love Juicy that much. Do you think Juicy's that great? It's a classic, granted.
No, Juicy's a shit.
It's cool.
Like, it's been oversaturated and played in your mind. And, like, I get what you're saying. But this is what I mean when I'm saying this. Like, It's Dark and Hell is Hot is all-time great. No, Mike, it's not. The warning, everyday struggle. The what?
I could put Damien up against Everyday Struggle and stuff like that. Like I could. And
No,
if you want to talk
not
about the
better though. But
what,
Mike,
if you want to talk about the what,
hold on,
I could put up
hold on,
niggas and
hold on.
started something.
Don't get it twisted. There's not a record on this Dark and Hell is Hot that's better than Everyday Struggle. Don't get it twisted. No, there's not.
At all?
What's the record on this Dark and Hell is Hot that's better than Everyday Struggle?
Stop being greedy.
No. Stop Being
It's
Greedy is
not
not better
better.
than Everyday Struggle, Mike. You tripping. Ain't no real
I think, you
hip-hop
know what?
fan.
Another hot take. I think niggas and started something is better than the what? It is.
Next topic. Just next topic.
I mean, I get it, man. We
It's
have
not
Big
better
and
than what-
etched in our brain, but
Who
I think he
remembers-
made a
who
better
remembers-
album. I'll give y'all Life After Death. I mean, from the versatility standpoint and the way that that album ends, yeah. But I don't know, man. I think it's Dark and Hell is Hot's a better album than Ready to Die.
I'm not saying it's not a conversation.
Because it's not even the runaway album of the year over Illmatic. It's not.
Illmatic.
Yeah.
It's Illmatic.
Again, I think that It's Dark and Hell is Hot is special in an Illmatic type of way, though. Because there's things that Big just didn't give us on that album. And I think he made up for that on Life After Death. That's why he was able to grow so much on Life After Death, because there were some holes in Ready to Die. Respect is not it. I'm sorry. I never liked that record.
Hold on. Every song on this Dark and Hell is Hot is not flawless, Mike. It's not some flawless fix.
What song don't you like on there?
Like, hold on. This is what I'm saying, Mike. Go listen to something like Fucking with D and tell me that Fucking with D would even make Ready to Die. Like, you
Fucking
talk about
with D is hard. What you talking about?
Fucking with D is hard, but hold on, Mike. No, is it better than Machine Gun Funk or Warning or Ready to Die?
It's better than
No,
Respect.
Mike.
It's better than Respect.
Right, but you're picking one record.
You're picking one record.
Right, Mike. Damien or Suicidal Thoughts?
That's a good one. I think I might go Damien.
Right, Unbelievable. What do you got for Unbelievable on there, Mike?
That's
What
a
do you
good
got for
discussion.
Things Done Changed, Mike?
Things done. See, that's DMX's chamber. He got those records.
What is that? Name the song. Name the song that's better than Things Done Changed. It be in your chamber doesn't mean you're making the better song. Because
I think
Big got
the
Things
intro.
Done Changed and Everyday Struggle. Now, who's really in the chamber? And Ready to Die, the song, Mike.
No, I give you that.
Records like that, it's on It's Dark and Hell is Hot, where he's going in like that. Everyday Struggle, Ready to Die, and Things Done Changed.
Either Let Me Fly or Give Me Death.
It's not better than Ready to Die, the song.
Oh, come on, man.
Like, Mike, tripping.
I'm sorry. Listen. I think that It's Dark and Hell is Hot is just a special moment. It
No, it's
changed
special.
everything.
He's just not the song maker. that
This
they
album goes from that intro, right? We know how explosive that Rough Riders intro is. Then you got
I
Rough
love
Riders
it.
Anthem. Then you got Fucking with D. Then you got Look Through My Eyes, one of the great records on there too. Love that record. Then you
Look into my eyes isn't Ready to Die worthy. That's what I'm telling you.
You don't
Mike.
think so?
No, where would that have fit in on Ready to Die? Why would he put on Look Into My Eyes when he has Things Done Changed and Everyday Struggle and Ready to Die and Suicidal Thoughts? Like, right.
You don't like Look to My Eyes like that?
Warning, Mike, warning. Who the fuck is this paging me at 5:46 in the morning?
Crime Stories.
Who got the more Mike? It's more memorable.
I
The
mean,
song is
yeah,
better.
it's big.
It's a conversation, Mike, but the songs on Ready to Die are pretty epic. Like,
No, they are. You got Let Me Fly. Hold on, let me finish this. You got Look Through My Eyes. You got Get At Me, Dog. Let Me Fly. You Let Me Fly, Give Me Death. You got X Is Coming. Now, I think that might be the weak point of the album. If I had to pick the worst song on the album, I think I'm going there. And that's a dope song. Damien, How's It Going Down? Crime Stories. Stop Being Greedy. ATF. For My Dogs. I Can Feel It. The Combo. Niggas done started something. Not to mention the prayer skit. He's giving you things that Big just ain't giving you on that album. And
Damn
it's-
Forget everything. Die versus It's Dark and Hell is Hot on Patreon.
we can do that. I would love to do that.
Damn all this.
That's what we're doing Monday. Forget Dilla and Primo. We're doing that.
So play these Ready to Die records for you.
Okay.
But like when it hits, when it hits, Mike, you're gonna be like, "Oh shit, I just started some shit that I can't fix." Yes,
Rap
like
still with the
great
super
sample
chat
from
says, "How about
like,
Things Fall Apart by the Roots?"
I'm with Things Fall Apart. Is that 2000? No, that's
That's
99.
99.
That's 99.
Yeah, came out same day as the Slim Shady LP. Let's see.
Wow.
The Razorhead says America's Most over any DMX album. See, I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad.
See, but we've already been through the whole Death Certificate America's Most rabbit hole. You're the one that turned me on America's Most and back into Death Certificate.
Yeah. I understand it, but yeah, I would go. I might actually say Death Certificate over It's Dark and Hell is Hot, too. Darius Campbell.
About Death Certificate, don't you?
What's that?
See, for me, Death Certificate and America's Most were always more like 10 to 20 rap albums to me. Never like 1 to 10. And so that really hasn't changed, because if we were doing a 10 to 20, they would both probably fall in there. I just don't think either one of them would make my top 10.
Death Certificate's epic. And it has no Vaseline on it. Darius Campbell with the super chat says, you still got Big Pun and the Fugees. I think the score is an interesting conversation, because we just talked about, not last week, but Wednesday, how I feel like the score stock has dropped over the years. I guess maybe because of the inactivity of the act, but the score was pretty epic. And it checked off all boxes. Impact, quality, originality, sales.
Can I tell you something?
Mm-hmm.
The best songs are the singles outside of How Many Mics. So I'm cool with it losing some of its like lore and its luster, because I never thought. How about this?
What's the best song on the score to you?
Ready or Not.
Fuji Live's the best song to me.
Okay, so how about this? Yeah. It's between those two songs and How Many Mics. Like, and
I love Cowboys too, but that was a single. Cowboys was a single technically.
Are those songs in the singles? And what I'll tell you is that 96 being a heavy year, and they dominated that year as far as the pub.
Yeah.
Can I just tell you how I honestly feel about 96? I always thought Muddy Waters was better than the score. I always thought Philadelphia.
I'm not mad at that.
Score. I always thought ATLiens was better than the score. I damn sure thought It Was Written in Reasonable Doubt was better than the score. So even in their shining moment, I still thought on the best day that might have been the 6th or 7th best album that year. And so it got number 1 slot and placement, but it was still in 96 only the 6th or 7th best album. And that's on a good day.
Antonio with the super chat says, y'all need the top 25. The 90s is too stacked.
See, I told you, this is why I wanted to do 80s. It's too stacked. If we can do a 20-pack for the 10s and for the zeros, then doing like, the 90s, it's just, we're going to be here all day. We ain't even brought up The Diary, Riding Dirty by UGK. You feel what I'm saying?
I don't think it makes it in this one.
You don't think The Diary makes it?
Huh?
You don't think The Diary makes it?
No, you got The Diary over Ready to Die?
No, I mean, maybe not top 10, but if we was doing a top 20, The Diary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I'm gonna have to back off of my Ready to Die and It's Dark and Hell is Hot for right now. I mean, the people are saying Ready to Die. I mean, I do want to do a Patreon on it.
But what's the problem with? Look, I mean, I'm cool with It's Dark and Hell is Hot being in the top 10. I just don't know if it's better than Ready to Die.
So you think Ready to Die should be in that top 10 then? Because something got to go, right? We got 10. But Dark and Hell is Hot is in there. And you still got the Infamous left. Like, so do you, out of the 3 left, what stays and what goes? You got Dark and Hell is Hot, Ready to Die, and the Infamous. Only 2 can stay.
Is Life After Death already in?
Yeah, it is.
I'm cool with putting Ready to Die at 11.
We'll still do the Patreon, though, because I think that's going to be fun. Rapster with the super chat says, for the 2010s, how about the Sun Triad and Acid Rap? We got to revisit that. I never liked Acid Rap. I just never understood it. I think Chance the Rapper was the first moment where I was like, yo, I'm old, man.
No, you know what? Let me ask you something, all jokes aside.
Moment of truth?
What's better than you, the Infamous or Ready to Die? Like, let's say
I
Biggie
think
already
Ready to Die is, to me.
is better than the Infamous.
Yeah. But I
Yeah,
get you with the impact of the Infamous and all of that. But
right. But is it Biggie level impact? Ready to Die impact? You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Big was big. Put Big back in. The Infamous is going to have to slide out for now.
All right.
I might do the Infamous versus It's Dark and Hell is Hot more than the Biggie thing.
I'm down, man. JB was here, says moment of truth.
Next level, almost, but not quite here. Not as groundbreaking as this, but musically and beat wise, right there.
Marquez Davis with Super Chat says, It's Dark and Hell is Hot is not better than Ready to Die. I'm sorry, Mike. Man says, East 1999 Eternal, Brand Nubian, All for One, Muddy Waters. I love that Bone album so much, man. Y'all already know how I feel about Muddy Waters and Brand Nubian's All for One. But I think with these albums, this is the 10 we have. Doggy Style, The Chronic, Purple Tape, Illmatic, Low End Theory, Into the 36, Life After Death, Aquemini, Ready to Die, Dark and Hell is Hot.
No, that's fair because Reasonable Doubt's not on there and the Infamous, and it's not right. It's not right. We're going to have to do a 20 pack. We're going to have to do a 20 piece. We're going to have to parse this out. I don't know.
JY says, intro to Dark and Hell is Hot is better than Everyday Struggle.
Like the Infamous, Reasonable Doubt, and Ready to Die are making the top 10 for the 90s. That's how tough the 90s are.
And people are saying Mike is spitting unbiased facts here. 007 says, the Infamous over It Was Written, The Score, and Black on Both Sides.
We done got ourselves in all type of trouble. You know, for the 90s, Mike, we could go top 5 every year and it would be an argument. You know that? In the 90s, we could go top 5 every year and it would be an argument.
It's the best decade of hip-hop if we talk about album for album. I think the hip-hop is still chasing that era. It amazes me how quickly we were able to do the 2010s, though. That's scary. And I thought that the early 2000s was weaker than what we were seeing in the 2010s. Maybe I was wrong.
No, I told you that's around the time that I fell out, Mike. It wasn't the 2000s that I fell out of love. It was right about that 2010, 11, 12, 13-ish time. And then by 14, it was just like, man, what the fuck is this?
Charles with the Super Chat says, All Eyes on Me was the first double disc album, sold 5 million in 2 months. Plus, it's rapping and production on No More Pain alone. No More Pain is probably one of the best hip-hop songs, in my opinion, of the 90s.
Yes.
I mean, if you want to talk about just forward thinking and production and all of that, like, and how hard that shit hit. But I'll say this. With it being the first double disc, it makes it where there were a lot of mistakes there on the second disc specifically. And I think those mistakes Biggie cleaned up on Life After Death because Pac did it first. Is that fair to say?
I mean, I think it would be more fair if we really did like the 90s by year. And I'm not joking when I say that. Like, I'm not exaggerating.
Oh, you want to do like best hip hop album for each year and make that the top 10?
We would have to in order for it to actually work.
Okay, what's the best hip hop album in 1990? Is that America's Most?
Is America's Most 1990?
I think so.
Yes.
We do some recon just to be sure.
Recon.
But just to be sure I'm not missing anything. I know Tribe came out in 90 as well.
Not better than America's Most.
Nah, it's not. So we got America's Most, Fear of a Black Planet, All for One, Brand Nubian, People's Instinctive. And Mama Said Knock You Out. America's Most with that. So we got 2 lists for the 90s. We got this list and, okay. 91, Low End Theory, right?
And Good Night.
92, The Chronic.
Again. Good Night.
Yeah. 92, The Chronic. 93, Doggy Style. Or 36. I'm voting Doggy Style.
I'm voting Doggy Style too, but that's only because Wu-Tang's about to get right back in.
Oh yeah, they got another one in there. Illmatic 94.
Right?
95 only built for Cuban links.
96. Yes, yes, yes.
96. What's the best hip hop album in 96?
Reasonable Doubt.
Is it Reasonable Doubt? Okay.
All Eyes on Me.
I think it might be All Eyes on Me, man. And if we're talking about the year specifically and what album ruled in that year,
Well, it's not just ruling, Mike. It is the quality of the album. I told you, like book one.
well, I'm going Reasonable Doubt then. If we're gonna do that, I gotta say Reasonable Doubt.
No, no. All jokes aside, book one of All Eyes on Me is one of the 10 best pieces of work I've ever heard. And there's more hits. How about this? There's more hits on book one of All Eyes on Me than on Reasonable Doubt. And it was written combined. You know that, right?
Oh yeah, I know.
On book one. And it's not just hit records, Mike. They're quality records.
Yeah, I know.
But we can go Reasonable Doubt. That's fine.
97 Life After Death.
Mm-hmm.
This is very New York heavy though. I got to be honest. 98, I say Illmatic. I mean not Illmatic. Aquemini, 98. In 99, 2001. We actually forgot that in the overall list. 2001. So the best hip hop album in 1990, America's Most. You got Low End Theory, then you got Chronic, then you got Doggy Style, Illmatic, Only Built for Cuban Links, Reasonable Doubt, Life After Death, Aquemini, 2001. Any objections?
Yeah, I don't like how it sounds at all.
Mad Max with the super chat says, I agree with Mike. A lot of people have big bias. DMX album was more impactful on my life than Biggie's Ready to Die. I play X more. I play X's album more. Andrew Green with the super chat says, Ready to Die hasn't aged well to me outside of the singles. I think that's fair. What do you think about that assessment? Miss LB says, I agree with Mad Max on this topic.
I don't think that it's aged bad. It's just some of the stuff on there, you can tell that it's like 90s hip hop. Like when Everyday Struggle comes on, like you can tell it's 93, 94, 95.
That's what I'm saying. And I said that when I was talking about comparing the two albums. You can tell that he recorded this album over different periods of time. And again, if the One More Chance remix is on the original album or Who Shot You's on the original album, I feel different. But if we're putting up the regular One More Chance with the, with no Who Shot You and all of that, I got It's Dark and Hell is Hot.
So this is what I'm trying to express to you, though, and I'm only going to do this one more time.
JY with the super chat says, oh, damn, I have to tune into the Patreon now. Yeah, definitely. Tune into the Patreon on Monday.
So, Mike, when you're... tell me when the bad song comes in.
Okay.
Things unchanged.
Great record.
Give me the food. Machine Gun Funk. Warning. Ready to Die. One More Chance.
The regular One More Chance to submit.
It's not.
It's not.
Fly and X is coming for you. That's for damn sure. That's what I'm trying to say.
I think Let Me Fly is better. Now X is coming. I'm with you on that.
The What? Juicy. Everyday Struggle. Me and My Bitch.
What did you think about Me and My Bitch?
I like Me and My Bitch. You don't like Me and My Bitch? It's storytelling, Biggie.
It is.
It's actually the only real story on Ready to Die. Like where he's actually like in storytelling mode. Yeah.
Okay.
Big the storyteller? Yeah, this is where he like starts telling stories. Right. I love the Computer Love version on the show soundtrack too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that shit's hard. Big Papa. Now, Respect and Friend of Mine, I'm not super big on those records.
Yeah.
I'll give you those.
And I feel like they put those at the end because they knew those were a little weaker.
Well, I don't feel that way about One More Chance, though. But I do feel that way about Respect and Friend of Mine, and that's fine. But, Mike, then there's Unbelievable and Suicidal Thoughts. Now, if you're telling me that Respect and Friend of Mine is the low point of this album, the low points on this Dark and Hell is hot lower than Respect and Friend of Mine. They just
I
are.
disagree. I think that Respect and Friend of Mine are lower than the low points of His Dark and Hell is Hot. The low points of His Dark and Hell is Hot are X is Coming, which I think is better than both of those records. And I think the other one is the one with Dragon and all of them on there.
For my dogs?
Yeah. And I love that record. The Razorhead with the super chat says the bridge from the east to west coast, America's most.
Yes.
Yes. Mad Max with the super chat says the way Bad Boy was moving, if Big had lived and X came out, it was gonna get dark for you Big fans. X was gonna take over. Big was gonna take over Big. Y'all gassing Big because he died. That's not fair.
No, okay.
I do believe that he was gonna move in more of a shiny suit type of. He was balancing things out. Where did you think the third Big album was going? If you had to predict,
I love DMX, but let's not get this fucked up, Mike.
Yeah.
The end of Life After Death is better than almost everything on its Dark and Hell is Hot. Like just on a song, rhyme, and quality and MCing level, and it's not single shit. So fam saying that don't know is hip hop. Like go listen to Long Kiss Goodnight, My Downfall, and You're Nobody Until Somebody Kills Me. You and tell me the big one gonna be all right in any motherfucking climate. On top of Kicking the Door and What's Beef and Niggas Bleed. Like niggas don't be knowing their history, Mike. It's like that's
Big
crazy.
was great at the balancing act, man. And I think even if
Big make whatever record he want when he feel like it at the drop of the dime, Mike.
Yeah, his versatility was crazy. Seek Big says, "Where's All Eyes on Me?"
Mike gave Reasonable Doubt.
Yeah. What I was gonna say though, I mean, because All Eyes on Me, let's just be real, it kind of falls off or falls apart in certain sections.
No, I'm with you on Reasonable Doubt, Mike. All Eyes on Me doesn't hold up the steam as well on this two because this one is such a tour de force.
What I was gonna say though, in regards to X and Big, I think people got to realize, man, X had been around. You know what I mean? Like X was always a force, even when Big was alive. He was just kind of like, somebody that just couldn't make it out of the underground. So I think X was gonna come anyway. They were on unsigned. Yeah, you said he was unsigned hype before Big, right?
Yeah, he was around before Big. He was rapping before Big.
Yeah. So I mean, I think they both would have coexisted. But it would have been more about what direction Big was going to lean to heavier. But I feel like on the third Big album, we were going to get some more bright, shiny stuff. And I think we were going to get a little less of the darker stuff. But you never know with Big because he did everything so seamlessly. I just feel like I think we were going to get more of the More Money, More Problem attempts on the third album because like he said, y'all was grimy in the early 90s, far behind me. I think he was going to continue to elevate and let people know, like, look, I've already done all the grimy stuff. You know what I mean? I think the third Big album would have moved a little bit further away from that stuff.
Oh, that's what's so beautiful. That's why Life After Death is the best rap album ending ever, Mike, is because the guy that's the most versatile and the biggest star and the biggest hit maker ended it on some hardcore rap shit. Not no happy shit.
You're right.
He did the album. He dug back in and got onto some the whole album is a tour de force. Mike, the end of the album is the most pure rap part of the album.
You're right.
He ended on some rap shit. Those are rapping ass rap hardcore East Coast manifesto ass songs he ended with. Ain't no Nasty Boy or No More Money, More Problems ending the album. It's My Downfall, Long Kiss Goodnight. You're Nobody Till Somebody Kills You. It is the best ending to a rap album ever because it is on some rap shit at the highest level. It ain't just him rapping. He's rapping at the highest level possible.
Let me ask you this, though, because I truly believe that even if he would have stayed alive, I think that Life After Death would have done very well. Like, I think it would have sold records regardless, right? But with that being said, do you feel like that would that would dictate the approach from the third album, where it's like, okay, Hypnotize, More Money, More Problems, and some of these other records sold this album. Let me do more of this and less of this. Or do you think he would have continued that balance in that?
No, he just like just making records like that to be like, see, you can't fuck with me at this either now.
Because I think if he stayed alive, Nasty Boy might have been a single. I used to hear it on radio anyway.
No, they played Nasty Boy without him being alive or making a video.
Yeah.
Same thing with That's what I mean. Like those other records, he was literally doing that competitively. Like, yeah, see, you can't even make this hardcore shit better than me. You know, you can't make a single better than me either. What you gonna do? Right. I'm the best rapper alive.
Seek Bix with the super chat says we need All Eyes on Me, the infamous, or Me Against the World in the top 10 of the 90s.
It's a heavy error. It's hard.
Again, what are we putting it over? We got Doggy Style, The Chronic, Purple Tape, Illmatic, Low End Theory, 36 Chambers, Life After Death, Dark and Hell is Hot, Akumina, Ready to Die. It's only 10 spots. Like, what has to go?
I mean, 30 of your 50 greatest rap albums probably got made in the 90s, man. Like 30 of your 50 are probably specifically in this decade.
Yeah.
Like ever. Like 30 of your 50, there's probably about, and to be honest with you, 30 is probably might be low because there's probably about 10 classics before the 90s that are in that stratosphere and maybe like 7 or 8 after. You know what I mean? Like,
JB
really?
was here, said revisionist history with reasonable doubt. I think this is the thing with reasonable doubt, which makes it very difficult to document, is the fact that, yes, when it dropped, they were on priority. It didn't get a big push. And, obviously it wasn't the seller that It Was Written was. It wasn't the seller that All Eyes on Me was. It didn't get that press and all of those things. But it got that adulation when he got put to that next level. Yeah, on some revisionist history shit almost, you know what I mean? But when we go back and listen to Reasonable Doubt, are we saying it doesn't deserve these accolades? I think it was somewhat slept on when it came out. And I think the beautiful thing about Reasonable Doubt is this is somebody who wasn't on the radar really from a global standpoint, more of on a New York level, who basically did everything that he said he was going to do in that album. Again, I've written an article calling Reasonable Doubt the most ambitious album ever. Like, all those things he said he was going to do, he did it.
Reasonable Doubt's a real move. Like I gotta be in a certain place to go back and listen to it and enjoy it the way that it deserves to be enjoyed. You know what I'm saying? And I really can't be around a lot of people. It's like that album is kind of, it's very hard to qualify because it means something to a culture of us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In terms of just the talk on there and not having anybody talk like that before.
Not even just that, it's just the person who's saying it too, and you see what that person was able to accomplish and acquire.
No, this is what I mean. Like, no, there was something.
You froze on my end, Coop.
Yeah. Oh, I can't. Can you see me now?
Yeah. You moving now. I mean, I could hear you before, but you was like, staying still.
Just know, talking like this on the chain. I have to get locked up. You can't talk like this on record. And so when he's popping up the next year, like talking this shit, it's like, no, Mike, the fact that he made it the next year and was like free and like out the streets and dropping another album, it's like, oh, really? It's like, really? Like, I mean, like in the spirit, like just the street dudes and hustlers watching him and then watching him pull up and talk shit like on Imaginary Players. Like, I was wearing this platinum when a lot of y'all niggas thought it was silk. Like when he started talking that way, it was like, oh, it's on. He's free now.
Like you said, man, 97 Hov is the guy that put his bid in for being the best rapper around. But that foundation was set on Reasonable Doubt. And, forever, whatever we want to feel about Big told Lil C's that Jay was the guy that he feared on the mic, based on Reasonable Doubt, based on that work.
You can hear, Mike, it's rare that you listen to an album and you can tell what the person is doing and you can feel it. And it's like, no. It's like, no, this this motherfucker really pushing weight when he's not in the studio. Like, it's me not talking about it. You felt it from the record. It was something very, very different about anything that came before in that regard. It's like you really felt like this nigga was about to leave the studio and go make a play. You know what I'm saying? Be like, song's over. Be like, this nigga's about to go. Oh shit! It's like, oh, hope he doesn't get indicted. Be like, oh, next record. Be like, okay, he's still here, free. Like, yes, get out of here hustling.
007 with the super chat says Reasonable Doubt is the third best album of 1996. Toss up between Nas and Pop.
See, there are people that feel that way about it too. Because musically, and this is what I mean, musically it hasn't aged as well as it was written or All Eyes on Me. Like sonically speaking, it hasn't.
Yeah. Charles with the super chat says Pac put out 3 classic albums in less than 2 years between 95 and 96. All those things are true. But again, what album are we taking out? And I think that if it wasn't for some of the missteps on the second disc, I'm all for putting All Eyes on Me in there. But with Pac experimenting with doing a double disc and being the first to do it, there were going to be some bumps with that, bumps and bruises with that. And that's the bumps and bruises that the second disc, I think everybody can agree that the second disc kind of has some missteps, right?
It's not like it's not a dope album. Let's have some missteps.
Now, if we're talking about best songs in the 90s, Pac probably got like 2 or 3 in the top 10. Because Dear Mama's high.
I say he got like 5 or 6 of the 25.
Yeah. Christopher Hogan with the super chat says All Eyes on Me disc 2 was just more for the ladies. Okay. Well, I mean, that's kind of the, I don't want to say the penalty for that, but you know.
It's not a penalty per se, but it's like,
I mean, like I said, what are we going to remove?
What's wrong with How Do You Want It? It's like, How Do You Want It is on disc 1. It's like, no. It's stuff for the ladies on disc 1.
It is. And Every Other City We Go.
JB was mean, women love I Ain't Mad About You. That's what I'm saying. It's like, it was Pac. No, I was there. I was outside. Women loved everything Pac did.
Yeah, it didn't matter.
Not making it seem like he had to make stuff for the ladies. It's like, no.
Everything he made was for the ladies.
I got put on to. I didn't even know Pac was like a sex symbol because like we looked at him like us, like a street dude, and like you know what I mean. It wasn't. I was sitting next to one of my homegirls in middle school. She's like, that nigga Pac is sexy. I was like, oh, y'all like him? She was like, we love him, nigga. Are you crazy? I was like, I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? I didn't look at him that way. But when I realized like the women loved him too, I was like, yeah, we got this game in his bag right now.
JB was here, says, saying Reasonable Doubt is number 1 in 96 is like Eminem claiming Infinite to get in the Hall of Fame. All right, well, you know, that's segue to our last part of this show. I wanted to respond to some of the people who had all kinds. Look, the Eminem gang really was killing me on Twitter a couple of weeks ago. I think it was last week when Eminem got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I think Eminem's people know that I exist or we exist or knows what I'm saying out here because it was a bunch of Slim Shady pages that were tagging us on Twitter and going in on me like Mike D doesn't know anything he's talking about. But I want to go through some of the comments from, I guess, my explanation of why I thought that Eminem just didn't deserve to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame yet. And I was going to respond to some of the things that were said, if that's fine. What do you think about this, Coop?
I don't think.
Okay. Someone said, oh my God, every artist Eminem were before him. Are y'all choosing to be ignorant or y'all serious? I don't know what that means. Okay. If Snoop made Death Row, then Eminem made Aftermath. Or do y'all not care about those facts? Think that's an interesting perspective.
Just go ahead.
Do you think that Eminem is responsible for Aftermath?
Financially, in a lot of ways, yes.
I think that it's a combination, but maybe, we could say the same thing with Death Row, right? I think 2001 is what Aftermath Jump Off was. But from an impact standpoint,
label has a cash cow. Like Eminem has been Aftermath and Interscope's cash cow.
Yeah, and he brought him 50 Cent. You know what I'm saying? So I'll say this. I think that Aftermath's catalog doesn't match Death Row's catalog or legacy, in my opinion.
No,
So if we're
not.
gonna, if we ask most people out here, what's the greater label, Death Row or Aftermath? I'm pretty sure Death Row's gonna win that.
So this is what I mean about how there are levels to this. It's like, well, Get Rich or Die Trying is like the second or first best album in some people's opinion for that whole decade. It ain't fucking with All Eyes on Me, man.
Right.
Like Get Rich or Die Trying for as great as it's not better than All Eyes on Me, right?
Or Doggy Style of the Chronic.
See how All Eyes on Me can't even sneak into like being near a top 3 album conversation for the year it got released, according to some people sometimes. You feel what I mean? So the game is just different. So when you talk about Death Row versus Aftermath, well, there it goes right there. It's like Get Rich or Die Trying, the best thing that came out of Aftermath in modern era. It's not fucking with All Eyes on Me.
Yeah. So if Snoop built Death Row and now he owns Death Row, congratulations to Snoop on that. If he built Death Row and Eminem built Aftermath, I'm gonna give Snoop more points because A, Death Row's better than Aftermath, and B, Death Row came 10 years before Aftermath.
Like, think about it. California is bigger than In the Club.
It is.
It's one of the few records that can say that. It really, really is. 21 Questions or I Ain't Mad at You. You feel me?
What are we doing here?
What are we doing?
And you don't want to put Doggy Style up against the Slim Shady LP or the Marshall Mathers LP.
Anything.
You don't.
Anything. So I said All Eyes on Me. You don't want to put Doggy Style up against anything. You stay right there with All Eyes. You can't fuck with All Eyes on Me. You don't get the Doggy Style.
Another comment was Dolly Parton accepted her nomination. What are y'all talking about? Well, when I said that Dolly Parton declined, I'm just saying that there was an opportunity for anybody to decline, the acceptance. That's it. Because again, we always lean on the fact that, M has no bearing or he can't help the fact that he's getting this adulation or he's being elevated. This is not his fault. That's fine, but you can decline. I didn't know you could decline until Dolly did it, regardless if she actually eventually accepted, but you can actually do that. And so if all of these people he knows, paved the way for him and certain people that I mentioned deserve to be in there before him, why not decline? That's right. All I'm saying.
No, I get what you're saying.
I mean, another one was, so Jay-Z also went in first ballot ahead of all the legends. Where's the video critiquing that section?
We actually do have a video.
I like y'all channel, but some of y'all M hate is way off base. Go ahead.
No, go into our videos.
Mm-hmm.
You will see where we actually criticized the Academy and said it was very unfair how they are putting LL Cool J in with Jay-Z and how LL Cool J should have been in before Jay-Z. So we're pretty fair.
And if we're talking about Tribe and Wu-Tang and all of that stuff, I think that's a fair assessment to say that, we didn't give Jay that same energy, but I'm just going to keep it 100%. Jay-Z and Eminem are not on the same level as far as what they mean to hip-hop, their impact on hip-hop, their catalog, album for album. It's just not the same. And maybe I should have said something about Tribe and Wu not getting in and Snoop not getting in before Jay, but I think the fact that Jay-Z's impact and his material and his output is just so blaring in the culture, I didn't really, think. But, I didn't really think to critique that. But we did critique the LL and Jay thing because that was blaring. LL came out in 85 and Jay came out in 96. And they shouldn't have been getting in at the same time. But to say all that to say, Eminem and Jay aren't on the same level. And I'm sorry, they're just not. There's no way I could dress that up. I think that some people are misinformed to the point where they do have Eminem and Jay-Z on the same level. And I think maybe just one performance on Renegade makes certain people feel like Eminem's better than Jay-Z. You know what? It's not the only song where somebody's had a better performance than Jay-Z. Beanie Sigel did it all the time. That doesn't make Beanie Sigel better than Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? Like, why is this even a thing? Shout out to Nas. I think he started it with the whole Eminem murdered you on your own shit, because before that, we weren't hearing any of that.
people
Anything
watch.
to piggyback on that?
No, I mean it's just okay. It's hard to qualify these lists. This is what I mean, and we might. I keep thinking about that metric and that scale that we were trying to create earlier this year, and we
It's
need to get
hard.
back to that scale. And this is we need a metric and a scale so we can just place it in the rubric and get the answer spit out through the process and through the data. And I know it seems kind of like technical, but this is why, because we're just going to end up doing this over and over again all day. People's feelings aren't facts, including ours. And so it's like we're not saying it like it's the gospel. We're trying to create a fair and unbiased metric that kind of is weighing in the impact, the groundbreakingness of the album, the lyrical connectivity, the production. It's like, no, we're trying to find out a way of putting all these things in measure. But that's the problem, Mike, is like when you put them in measure and you go to different eras and different years and different quality of albums, it's hard to stay consistent. Like I'm in a chat right now where somebody's telling me that we're tripping for putting Biggie's 2 albums and It's Dark and Hell is Hot over the Infamous. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
That's a personal feeling. Like for me, I like the Infamous more than I like It's Dark and Hell is Hot in those in Biggie's first 2 albums. Is it more impactful? Because the music is comparable.
I honestly feel like, and you know how I feel about Akumina. I think that the Infamous would have a better debate up against Akumina on a list like this than it would the X album. Because the impact, you know what I mean? And as much as I love Akumina, it doesn't have the impact of those 2 albums.
I mean, to be honest with you, Mike, even when you said Aquemini, as much as I love Aquemini, it sounds out of place when you put it next to these albums because, and this is what I mean. Well, the Infamous got Shook Ones and Give Up the Goods and Survival of the Fittest and Eye for an Eye. It's like those aren't just street classics, Mike. That's the shit they make. They're still playing these records in New York. If they're not
everywhere, not even just New York.
Right. And so, and then you go to something like It's Dark and Hell is Hot. Stop Being Greedy. How's It Going Down? Rough Riders Anthem. Don't get started with Big, Mike.
Get at me, dog.
Let's not even get started with Big, Mike.
Yeah, and then when you get to Akumina, we're talking about Rosa Parks, Skewered on the Barbie, and Art of Storytelling. And you know what? I think the saving grace for Akumina, and it wasn't even a single. They didn't even put it out with a video. Is Spodio de Dopalicious. That's the song that lasted the longest.
That might have been where they are slipping. And actually, that's what I mean. It's like they may not have done themselves a lot. They did themselves some injustices with some things because it's like, why are you releasing Art of Storytelling and Rosa Parks over Spodio de Dopalicious? Like, why exactly?
Seek Big says, y'all act like this too has a lot of bad songs. Go track by track. There's 3 skips tops. Not say holla at me and rather be a nigga and run the streets either. All right, maybe we should do All Eyes on Me on the Patreon too. Here's another comment. I don't like M's music. He's obviously talented and technical. However, I know enough about the hip-hop genre and knowledge to know that M loves drawing attention to hip-hop greats. He does it more effective in more ways than some black MCs. He wears T-shirts with the Underground Cats on there, references rappers and rhymes. I think he does it so that he knows that he has so many fans who listen to just him, and he's trying to educate. Mike, that was disappointing for you to come to that conclusion. That might have been a low blow. You know, I don't want to knock somebody's love and influence, because everybody he named seemed to be very happy that, you know, he named them and acknowledged them during his speech. So maybe a lot of that was just tongue in cheek and me just, you know, flexing and being funny. So I'll take that critique. I think that's fine. Maybe the alphabetical order thing was too much.
No, this discourse that we're having, it's good and it's all healthy. We need to get our rubric out though and like put it into something. Mm-hmm. Because here's the reality of the matter. For me, I don't separate the Infamous from the Purple Tape and Liquid Swords or Life After Death, Ready to, like, that's all in Reasonable Doubt, Moment of Truth, It's Dark and Hell is Hot. No, that's all in the same group to me. You get what I'm saying? That's all in the same grouping. It's like, so asking me what album is better, I don't think it's fair to any of those albums without us creating some sort of like normative baseline to speak of. It's like, well, and I mean, how about this? Like, if you love The Infamous, understand the mic performance is going to suffer compared to Biggie and DMX because, well, Havoc doesn't rhyme as big in DMX, though Prodigy does.
Right.
You feel? So The Infamous is going to lose some points lyrically because you have to keep in mind, well, Prodigy isn't rapping by himself on The Infamous. In all respect to Havoc, he's a solid rapper. Now go listen to the rapping that Big is doing on Ready to Die and Life After Death and DMX's Dark and Hell is Hot. And tell me that Prodigy is holding that up by himself on The Infamous when he has Havoc right there too, who's more of a producer. No. So The Infamous lyrically isn't as strong as Ready to Die, Life After Death, or as Dark and Hell is Hot. Just off the strength of that. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean that there's not another measure where it's stronger. Like, I think the production on The Infamous is better than the production on Ready to Die. You feel
and
what
I think
I'm
that
saying?
could be a preference thing, right? But I agree with you. But I think the production on Ready to Die is very strong.
It's not better than The Infamous, but
it's just different. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a different
Q-tip guy, Mike. You're the Q-tip guy.
Yeah, no, I know. Mo Better says, when I have conversations about Outkast, people bring up ATLiens more than Akumanot.
You want to know why? Elevators.
I think it's the overall tone of ATLiens. I think, like I said, ATLiens is their boom bap album, but Akumanot is the better album. And I think that Akumanot sold more too. Not to say that that's the ending metric, but I'm just saying it's not because ATLiens is talked about more because of impact, because I think that would still go to Akumanot. But Akumanot is the better record. But again, it's kind of like that Thriller Off the Wall conversation where it's like people love the vibe of Off the Wall as people love the vibe of ATLiens, but you can listen to those two albums and you could tell that Akumanot is an elevation from ATLiens. You could tell that Thriller's an elevation from Off the Wall. They could do things they couldn't do on the previous album.
No, you're right.
CJ Kidd says, you guys still going to do the College Dropout versus Moment of Truth for the Patreon that you guys spoke on months ago. Forgot about that.
I think we got Ready to Die. It's Dark and Hell is Hot and Infamous on. But what we have first is DJ Premier versus Dilla this Monday.
Are we doing that first, or are we going to do the... are we going to go ahead and do the Ready to Die and It's Dark and Hell is Hot?
We'll do what the people say.
We can put that on the people. Eric Terrell says, y'all like the overrated Beatles. Why not Eminem?
I'm not touching that.
I think that the Beatles, I wouldn't say the Beatles are overrated per se. I just think that the Beatles, they created the format of making albums. I mean, I think they came in at a time where they were a collective of songwriting, musicians, and performers during an era where there were individual songwriters, there were individual producers, there were individual artists, and there were individual musicians. They were all in one band. So I think that their impact on that level has to be recognized whether you like their music or not. I don't think Eminem's a pioneer of anything in hip-hop. So I think that's a little different.
Mike, are you listening to the that are coming out of your mouth? You're saying, well, people weren't making albums before they came along, and this guy's calling them overrated. Like, that's the end of the conversation right there. It's like, well, people weren't making albums before they started making albums consecutively. So
no, albums were just a bunch of singles and covers. They were coming with original efforts, and, you know, it just is what it is. Michael Hutley.
You got to respect the game.
Yeah, you got to respect the game. That should be it. Michael Hutley says, where would you rate the Nocturnal album from Helter Skelter? I love Helter Skelter.
See, that's what I mean. I don't even know if Nocturnal's a top 10 album in 96. Is it? That's 96.
That's 96. Yeah, it's a heavy year. I don't know if it is because I'm thinking Iron Man and that.
I forgot about Iron Man in 96. I'm crazy. All Eyes on Me and Machiavelli. No, I don't even know if Nocturnal's top 10 in 96.
Yeah. Miss LB with the super chat says, Mike D, I think your statement about M's Hall of Fame speech was spot on because I felt the same way before you said it. Hey, you know, I appreciate that. But, you know, I just want to And see, this is the thing. I don't mind responding and defending my statements if I'm standing on factual information and not feelings. Not standing on feelings. I'm standing on the fact that tell me how he should get in there before Snoop. Let's start with Snoop. And I know people kept changing the narrative and talking about I'm talking about pioneers and this and that. No, I'm talking about Snoop specifically. Because you got the Dr. Dre connection, and like someone said, even when they were coming at me, you got the Death Row and Aftermath connection. Snoop started Death Row, M started Aftermath, right? Death Row comes before Aftermath, doesn't it?
And that was the thing too, and this is what I mean when you're saying Aftermath is really, really funny in the sense. It's like, well, he started off with Nas and the Fireman, and then that didn't go the way that he wanted. And then he popped back up with Eminem, and Eminem helped take things to a certain level. But, Mike, it didn't take off until the Chronic 2001, and it didn't reach its culmination until Get Rich or Die Trying. And so...
Well, what I would also say to that, too, Snoop actually helped in those efforts. Let's not sit here and act like Snoop's not...
Right.
Yeah, yeah. Bitch, please.
Right. So if you're asking me who built Aftermath back up, it's like when you know what when I think about Aftermath, I think da 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 da.
Yeah.
Dr. Dre.
So like, let's not act like Snoop's not a part of Aftermath actually coming.
I mean, because he's the star of 2001, Mike, and 2001 is the Aftermath moment.
Because I feel like Bitch Please set the table for it, right?
Right.
At least what we were going to get on 2001. And then even when 2001 came out, Still DRE, Snoop had to be a part of that record. Can you hear that record without Snoop? Can you hear that record working without Snoop? And then not to mention the next episode, which, to be perfectly real here, was supposed to be the first single. No, and Jimmy Iovine was like, no, y'all got another one in the canon that you can make. And it became Still DRE. But guess what? Snoop had to be on that first single, regardless of what the first single was.
He's on the next episode.
Exactly. So he was on both choices for the first single. That's not accident.
Right. So when you talk about who built Aftermath, it's like, well, you know.
Well, yeah. Yeah, you can't just give that one to M. Snoop had something to do with that, too. Now, I know one thing.
The building of Aftermath is a group effort. But Snoop was that group effort.
But I'll tell you one thing. Eminem didn't help build Death Row, did he?
No, Snoop definitely built Death Row.
Yeah. Amir Thoughts with the Super Chat says, appreciate the work you guys continue to put in. Keep going. I appreciate my Amir Thoughts, man. He always be coming with the heavy Super Chats. That one was a 20-piece. Ready to get out of here, Coop? I think we kind of covered everything. We kind of got some preliminary lists. I think our 90s list is probably the strongest as far as like set in stone.
I don't like the way these lists are going.
The 80s is next.
I don't like the way these lists are going.
We'll do the 80s on like Wednesday's show. I think the 80s might be a little easier.
We just need to be able to put it on a scale for when somebody's saying it's like, okay, so we have the infamous Ready to Die and It's Dark and Hell is Hot next to each other. Like, what's getting a 98? What's getting a 95? What's getting a 94? Like, we need to have a way to, you know.
Well, I think we can kind of do that with some of the with the 90s one, right? I think we could give it a rating on a scale from 1 to 100, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We might really have to do like a breakdown. Like to parse through the 90s albums is going to require a real critical breakdown. Like not just like a normal breakdown. Like because here's the reality of the matter, Mike. As much as we, like, how about this? The way that I'm talking about Ready to Die, oh, well, there's niggas that's going to argue to me to the end of the time about the infamous. And niggas going to argue about It's Dark. Like, we need something to, like, really actually, like, kind of like, scale it off. Like, for however you feel about how DMX is rapping on It's Dark and Hell is Hot, oh, well, he's not fucking Biggie on Life After Death, though. You know what I mean? So we need to parse out how far behind he is in that. It's like if Big's rapping on Life After Death, if that's a 99, then what is DMX's rapping on It's Dark and Hell is Hot? Because I'll tell you that's like a 92, 93.
How about we rate it based on beats, rhymes, and life and give all of them a scale?
That's fine.
And add it up.
I'm cool.
Eric Terrell with the Super Chat says, Quincy Jones said the Beatles didn't play on their own albums. They couldn't. Why would he lie, Coop? Oh, yeah.
Why would Quincy Jones lie? Same reason the rest of us lie.
Quincy Jones tells the truth. He's an older man. He has no reason to lie. I think I'll put it this way: in Quincy's world, he probably seen way better musicians.
Oh, hold on. He'll tell you, are there better musicians? Yes. Are there better musicians and songwriters and stage performers and album makers? Like all the things, Mike. All the things.
Yeah.
Right. I know, Mike, I done seen niggas hoop with my own eyes. It's like, man, that nigga going pro as long as he don't. Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of factors there. All right. Well, everybody have a great weekend, great show, man. I think we cracked the code on a few things. I never thought that the 2000s would be the most difficult one, because that one just hurt my head trying to put together.
No, that's what I'm saying. We're going to have to come up with some sort of metric or scale. We struggled to do 20 to 2010.
Yeah. Okay. All right, man. I'm going to holler at you.
All right.
Yeah.